Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. But more importantly, blue morning to you. We're a little late today because we're trying to sort out new equipment that we brought into the studio, but we're fine. More importantly, I hope everybody else is doing well. Today, we're here to talk about Federico Chiesa. The rumors also that Juventus wants Timo Werner, and our links to U.S. international. Uh, Dest. So we'll look at those things and we'll also talk about other transfer rumors and also try to catch up with what's going on with Ousmane Dembele and Jules Kounde. Quite a lot of stuff to talk about, but it's going to be fun. So sit back, relax, and let's get into it. Yes, people, welcome back to the Blue Morning Show. Look, for those in the UK, it will be afternoon already, but it's still a morning here. So 4:02 a.m. That's by the way. It's just like I said, we're trying to sort out new equipment that have been brought in into the studio. But we're getting there so that we'll be able to switch a camera, all the fun stuff. And I want to take this opportunity to explain to those of you who's made it here first. And while you're watching, let me know if the sound is clear. If you're experiencing any issues with the sound, please do let me know. Usually, when the time when the time is moved up via StreamYard, all the initial comments will be lost. So again, if you're watching, let me know if you can hear me quite clearly. That would be good. And here we see. Let me see. Phantom says. What's the fifth like? Please send StreamYard to Twitter. Okay, I'll do so in a bit. And this is a brother here, the Vibe. I like that name. The Vibe says, hurry up. And here he's laughing. We're good, brother. Yeah, it's 4:02 a.m. here. And Chidera Grace, I say, hi, bro. Always a good time here. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's good. I like it that you like the show. And please, whenever you can, do try to tell more people about the channel. And don't forget, we'll be doing hosting the Roman Abramovich contest soon, of which winner will take home $150. Good luck to all those that have been picked as the contestants of the Chelsea. Kenneth, nice to see you here. It looks like I have quite a lot of Igbo people here, but I'm proud. So dial on to how you guys say. You guys are all my brothers. Everybody's my brother, of course. Big up, Coach. Big up to you, Bobby Fairview. It's been a minute. I hope you've been doing it well. And here he says, hi, bro. The sound is very clear. Thank you very much, Street David. And it sounds clear. Thank you very much for confirming that. Bobby, welcome to the panel, brother. How are you doing? Can you hear me, Bobby?
Yeah, I can. I was just trying to unmute. Yeah, good.
Unmuting seems very difficult when you're using a smaller device. I think I've experienced that myself.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I'm still working. The work is not crazy busy today. So I thought I'll join. And I made a deliberate effort to join today after some of the DMs I exchanged to you, which were rather
I totally understand.
We move on.
Again, yeah, we move. Yeah, if you remember, there was a time I sent you a message that I asked you if I'd ever wronged you in any way. That was one of the reasons, but we're not going to talk about here. We're here to, entertain the Chelsea Football Club fans, and we're family. We're not into the divisive behaviors, but let's get into it, Bobby. You've always been one of those clamored that if anybody's going to leave in an attacking area, that it will most definitely be Timo Werner, and it's looking like that's going to be the case. We're hearing that Juventus wants him, and given also the rumors that we want Gvardiol from Leipzig, his former club. So there's a chance and exchange could happen. But first, I want to get your thoughts on, why you think he's going to be really, you think he's going to be the one to leave? Because if you check, really, I think he's been one of the, he's done quite well overall. His numbers ain't that bad.
In what sense? His numbers in what, goals?
Goals contributions, he doesn't have. I know he's missed quite a lot. Bobby says in what sense, but I want to get your thoughts.
Timo was actually brought to Chelsea to score goals.
Mm-hmm.
Timo, it's heartbreaking really, because all the fans love Timo Werner. We love his attitude. We love his endeavor. He's a very effective player because of his work rate, but he doesn't score. And it makes no sense running around the pitch, for 90 minutes plus
Uh-huh.
and not scoring if you're an attacker, game in, game out. Um, that's why I think he's at risk. Now, it would have been more tolerable if his wages wasn't so high, but he's been paid, very handsome wages.
He's one of the highest earners at the club.
Yeah, and the reason for that was that, he's there to score goals, and he's not doing that. Now, we've got to be ruthless this summer. I really want to see that and go for what works for Chelsea, not for sentiment. And he's not working, so I'm not surprised if he's moved on.
Yeah,
It's,
I'm not. Again, I'm not surprised either because it doesn't look like Thomas Tuchel trusts him, and it's important to note that. Again, he's given him chance probably because he has to make do with what he has available to him. But what I want to ask is this, really, Bobby. Now, we're hearing that Juventus are interested in him, and we've always wanted Chiesa from Juventus.
mm,
Yeah. So, and we can get a sizable fee for Timo Werner. If not, it may well come down to, okay, they want a player plus cash. That's fine. Then it's not going to be too much cash towards getting him. You get that? So what I want
mm.
to ask, do you think it makes sense? To me, I think it makes business sense because yes, I know, yeah, he was injured, but now he's back in training. I saw Just Viola sent me the video showing where he's training. I think we should, try to ask, okay, if they want Werner, they can give, okay, give us CSI. If you want more cash plus Werner, we can do that because they have Vlahovic. I'm sure they will not be concerned. And Vlahovic has done quite well, even when Chelsea isn't playing.
Yeah, I mean, I've always liked Chiesa. I have a lot of respect for him as a player. His injury record gives me some concern, and with the purchase of Dembele
Mm,
and the track record of Pulisic, I would now be a little bit concerned if yet again we have an attacker with a
mm,
suspect injury record. That's the only reason I would probably overlook Chiesa. The English Premiership is very, very unforgiving, and there's no time for a player that's very injury prone in
mm.
in a squad, which is a big loss. Can we manage him? Well, Juventus managed him. They played him for 60 minutes each game, and no more, because of the way he plays. That's possible, but as I've said, the potential for injury is high. And, Dembele is coming, Pulisic is there. To add yet another one, all three of them could be injured at the same time. Then what? Which is very likely. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I think the market, there are others out there that we could possibly be looking at, um,
Mm.
not necessarily him.
Like who in particular do you have that came to mind? The Gavi deal
Well,
from Leipzig. Maybe try to, tell them, okay, you can take Werner. He's played here before. He's played well for you guys. Again, you can take him and give us Gvardiol, and he's refused. Gvardiol has refused to renew his contract. I think, but he still have quite a few years left on his contract. But without a buyout clause, and it's on his contract, I think it makes the whole thing, easier because they really, we want. It looks like we want him really.
Who, Gvardiol?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's one. I don't know if Leipzig will take
Werner.
Werner back, because I don't know
But
if they can
remember, we're
afford
saying
him.
Werner plus cash.
Well, can they afford to pay his wages? This is the problem.
Yeah, because he's gone up almost twice as much, or even not, if not three times of what he was earning there.
Yeah, yeah. So
Wow.
I don't know, but this is where the likes of Nkunku come in. Um, I can't right now think off the top of my head who else would be a suitable sort of target outside, that's at par with Chiesa. But if I have a little think, I'm sure that there are some out there. And we have to remember, it may not all be about spending money.
Hmm.
Have Conor Gallagher to come back. Now, people
That's
think,
in the midfield area.
well, Chiesa is a kind of number 10, isn't he? He's a kind of midfielder stroke attacker. Um, he plays, the person that he would threaten would be Pulisic, really, if he comes in. But then, they're both very much the same. I think Chiesa is a better player, but I don't know. I really don't know. It's an interesting one.
By the way, that brings to mind something else. We've always known that Pulisic leaving isn't going to be that simple, and
No,
it's
it's not going to
emerged.
happen.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. He's more than just a footballer like we've established. He's also, had a meeting with the new owners, and and I quote, he says, the new owners are good people. That he's looking forward to, the future at Chelsea, but he wants to play more games. So with those kind of statements, you can't say, you can say, well, he's staying. Clearly, he's staying, except if something changes in the future. But right now, it just looks as if he's staying. But the question I want to ask, players meeting with the owners, in the absence of the manager. I'm thinking, I think we've talked about it before a bit from, when Lukaku's agent, we heard that we're arranging a meeting with Todd Bowley. Again, it just seems we're starting to see the possibility of player power re-emerging again at Chelsea Football Club. And that's no problem. That is one of the biggest issues we've dealt with before.
Yeah, I mean, this is why. First of all, this is why it's important for Lukaku to leave, because he's somebody that tried that sort of player power nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're talking in reference to Pulisic, please forgive me if I'm sort of going off point.
No, no
Um,
problem.
um, Pulisic staying at Chelsea is partly a commercial drive. He's an American football poster boy, and
Mm-hmm.
him being at Chelsea is good business. We're going on tour to America. We will want to sell merchandise in America, and we want to increase the American fan base. We have a healthy American fan base as it is. It could get better with Pulisic. So
Mm-hmm.
there's strategy to keeping him. I don't know. Him saying he wants to play more games is natural. All players will say that. But he knows that his playing more games is dependent on his injury record and on his performances. He knows this. They all know this. You can't just not be scoring, missing chances, and expect to play week in, week out. More especially if somebody in your position comes in and they are scoring.
Mm-hmm.
He knows this. So we'll have to see next season.
That begs another question. Yeah, we've known all this while, and I've talked about it like a million times, really. Yes, we agree. He's American poster ball. That is from a footballing perspective, and he means he's more than just a footballer for Chelsea Football Club. We know that already. Now, since that's the case, wouldn't it seem as if he's being imposed on the manager? And I was wondering, okay, what would they actually discuss with Todd Bowley? Would it be like, okay, I will speak with the manager. You're probably going to get more game time than you did last season. So you see, even though he's a footballer, he's also business. From a business perspective, he's important to the club. So if such conversation wouldn't it lead to, Bally trying to impose Christian Pulisic on the manager? Because if he promises, okay, you're probably going to get more game time than you did last season, because as he was talking about, he's looking forward to the future at Chelsea Football Club. It showed that he had a productive conversation with the owners in terms of more game time, which means the owners will find a way to try, no matter how they do it, it will be more like imposing Pulisic on the manager, and it will be more like, how else do I phrase it? Again, it is no different from player power. So that's a problem for me. I want to get your thoughts from how the perspective I explained it. Yeah, we've agreed he's more than just a footballer for us. He's the face of football in the United States. But meeting with the owners and coming out speaking the way he did gives away that he had a productive meeting with him, which may well be Todd Bowley, no matter how he sees his discussion with Thomas Tuchel, will mean that he's imposing uh, um, Christian Pulisic on the manager. But that's not me saying that Christian Pulisic is a bad player. He's a good player overall, and he's still very young and may well, be on top of the world this coming season. Like another case, like the staff gave an instance the staff gave when he was here was a case of Ian Robin. He was injury prone at Chelsea, but when he left us for Real Madrid, the rest is history. So I want to get your thoughts, really, Bobby. Can you give me what do you think about what I just explained?
You know, Todd Bowley and the owners of Clear Lake Capital are not
Mm,
stupid. Neither is this Heinz Weiss or whatever, and the other guy that's involved with the
mm,
consortium. These are not stupid men. Todd Bowley, in particular, who has owned or is involved with sports ownership, understands a basic principle in sport, and that is you can't do that. You can't usurp the authority of your coach. He would know that. But at the same time, he's free to have discussions with players. Roman Abramovich had discussions with players practically all the time, perhaps a little bit too much because there were some very powerful players in the Chelsea dressing room, partly because of that link, partly. Roman would fire any manager ahead of his players. He loved his players. He was like a fan in
mm.
that sense. But Todd Bowley will talk to his players, of course, to encourage them to build up loyalty. Now, I mean, you and I weren't there when they had a discussion, but I would think the line of his discussion with Pulisic would be to encourage him. We have this going on. We want to bring this to the medical room to make sure that we pay attention to your fitness. We want you playing at your best. Yes, you're there. You can be the front for soccer, as they call it in
Mm.
America. These are not harmful discussions.
So it's
Um,
fine. Anyway.
and he, of course, on his part, would say, yes, I'm just trying to mimic what I think probably went on. It's
Yeah,
just my,
I'm with you. I'm with you. Uh-huh.
he would say, yes, I'd love to do that. Yes, I like your ideas, but I'd like to play more. And Todd would just probably nod and just say, okay, yeah, fine. But, the truth is, he knows that to pray more, you've got to be fit more. And that is the first step. And
Well,
then
that,
if
that is
you're,
that is no secret.
yeah, and if you're fit more, then you've got to score more. That's another thing because he's a striker. He's not a midfielder. He's not, although I know he's played wing back, which is the sort of flexibility of Thomas Tuchel. But he's not really a wing back either. His job is to create and to score. So he needs to do better at that at Chelsea. I'm sure he knows that. I don't think he I can assure you that if he's not performing and he starts getting difficult, with his father tweeting things on Twitter every 5 minutes, these lot will
Mm-hmm.
get rid of him. They will get rid of him. They cannot afford Chelsea not to be successful. They cannot afford things to happen to affect the club. That's why they're in negotiations to get Lukaku out. They've looked at his stats, he's looked at his goal scoring, and he wants to go. And they're like, okay, we'll help you go as much as is reasonably possible. That's why they haven't renewed some of the logos that we have. I think 3 has been dropped, if I remember rightly from what I've been reading today. I think
Yeah, I
that
think I saw that like a few days ago. They're an embarrassment because I don't think any business entity would trust them again.
no,
Yeah, they weren't paying attention to what they were doing. Why would you just, you know, all of a sudden, just, turn your back on a club that you have a contract with just because some they were under restrictions. It wasn't like it was the club that started the war in question. But that's, by the way, go ahead, Bobby, with what you were saying.
yeah, I mean, just addressing that, that was a knee-jerk reaction. That's why I'm very weary of following people, following the bandwagon, as it were.
Hmm.
Some people say things, and everybody latches onto the fashionable thing at the moment, and nobody, some people, not nobody, some people and some entities, they don't sit back and think whoa, what's actually going on here? Do I need to have a reaction here? Do I need to do anything different here?
Hmm.
Is this about me or about someone else? And to suddenly just throw all your eggs behind uh, an accusation, more or less, is immature, for want of a better word. It's
Hmm.
immature. 3 have shown themselves to be highly immature. Chelsea was going through something, you know. They could have
Hmm.
sat back and thought their sponsorship effectively had nothing to do with Roman Abramovich. They were
Yeah.
sponsoring Chelsea Football Club, and that should have been enough for them to hang in and wait until this was sorted out. But they just, I don't know, they reacted in a very childish way. And I'm happy that the Bowley Consortium have found them not to be a reliable uh, source for
Business partner, maybe, if
yeah,
you prefer.
yeah, they're not at all. They're very, I don't know. It's bad PR for them, bad, and it'll
It
take
is
them a
indeed.
while to get over this because it will always
It
be
is.
a reference point.
Hmm. This is not something they can easily sweep that can be easily swept under the rug. It happened and everybody, the public, heard about it. So, but we'll see. Let's see how they deal with it. I will go through the chat and then I'll quickly come back to the panel again so we can, round up with Timo Werner, and then move to the next topic. Watching from Trinidad and Tobago again, my brother, I remember you. How are you doing? I do hope you're doing well. Please, I want to know when Lukaku is leaving the club. Again, there's no clarity on what's going on right now. We're starting to hear in other reports the clubs like Bayern Munich one team, but that's the one I doubt because, yeah, like I said yesterday, this is not me disrespecting Romelu Lukaku. The truth is, Bayern usually go for players who are highly technically gifted, and I don't count Lukaku in that category. Again, that's me. Other people may, but I don't think he's going to Bayern. And doing business with Bayern, which will mean that Chelsea will lose even more money than they would have. But dealing with Inter Milan, you know, leaves a room for Chelsea to not to lose too much money. But I think Inter will be the most likely destination, and as we've heard, he wants to go back to Inter Milan again, and it makes sense because that was where he was when he was, scoring goals for fun. The moment he left Inter, everything came to a screeching halt. But let's see what happens. And Bobby, I want to get your thoughts. Any thoughts about the Lukaku rumors going to Inter Milan?
The way this is going, there is every possibility that Lukaku will go nowhere.
Yeah.
The whole money side of it, it's just too complicated, and Chelsea at least will want to claw back something reasonable from the whole mess. And it just seems to me that it doesn't look certain. It really doesn't look certain that he's going anywhere. Which is even worse because he's now made it clear that he wants to leave. So what do you do with a player like that? And this is why I get so upset with Marina, because this is her parting legacy. A troublesome, highly expensive centre forward. That's awful. That's awful. And I don't see I struggle to see a way out of this. I really do. I think it'll be marvelous if we find a solution, but I don't yet see this as I don't see the solution yet, unfortunately. I don't.
Yeah, there's no clear solution in sight. But here's what I want to say again. I think things will get even worse. I'm suspecting things may get even worse for him and the club if after this whole talk, if in fact he hired lawyers to help facilitate a move back to Inter Milan, and it doesn't happen, I don't think things will remain the same for him at the club. Your thoughts on that, Bobby?
Well, there's one thing. I think you're right. As I said, the Bowley Consortium, I don't look at them as people that mess around. I really don't. Would they be happy to lose that sort of money? They won't. But since he's made it so clear that he wants to leave, and if it's not able to happen, they may teach him a lesson. If you can teach somebody a lesson that way, that's earning 325k a week. But he may just now walk away with the money and have no football. This is the position he could end up. It's a very brave decision to take. It's very wasteful. But what do you do? He's made it clear he wants to leave. If he doesn't, what will he do to the rest of the team? This is the thing. And do you hemorrhage 325k a week and keep the team, solid? Or do you gamble? It's a horrible position to be in. Terrible.
It is indeed. That's why I say it again. It will make the whole thing, even more complicated because how is can I explain it? Again, it's let's see what happens. I hope everything works out because the most viable solution right now would be for him to leave the club, and the club will can also get some money off his sale or loan move in, put it to good use somewhere else. But let's see what happens. So now, Bobby, let me ask you this: you seem you seem to have given up on him entirely. You don't seem like you. It doesn't look like you believe if he stays, things are changing around for him because he's not the worst. At least we should start looking at what we call the deadwood Then if we get to the first team, and and it's still, and there's the need to to say to let him go, we do that. But right now, we can't let him go if we get that is we're talking about Timo Werner now. We're going back to Timo Werner. We can't let him go if we cannot bring in anybody. You did say that yourself yesterday.
What, Timo, or Lukaku, or both?
Timo. We can do without
Yeah.
Lukaku. That's for sure.
Yeah, Timo, the thing is that Timo has the right attitude, and he always flatters to deceive, in that we always have hope that something's going to happen, that he'll turn a corner. And it's possible he might. I don't know how much faith Thomas Tuchel has left in Timo from the sort of sparing appearances he had towards the end of the season.
Uh-huh.
It seems that faith has gone. It really does. I don't think selling Timo will be difficult. What will be difficult about selling him is his wages. And will he be prepared to take a wage cut? I think he probably will, because from what I have seen of German players, it's not too much about money for them. They're not really sort of money driven. From what I've seen, I don't know, I could be wrong. You can't generalize with people, but I would be surprised if Timo is a money driven sort of guy. I think if he's offered a decent wage elsewhere and the guarantee of playing regularly, he will take that. Um, Reluctantly, but he will take that. And so I would be surprised if it's very difficult to sell Timo. I really would. But can we bring someone in without selling him? Yes, we can. I think that will, especially over the summer, that will accelerate his leaving, because there's no bigger message to send to a player that you're surplus to requirements than putting somebody in their position that has the potential to do better.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I think that the salaries of these players, even those that falls into the category that would makes it very difficult to find buyers. Yeah, because times are hard now, inflation and all that. Again, but let me see. Let me catch up on the chat, and then I'll come back to the panel again in a bit. But before I do that, I want to say welcome to Tobago, brother. How are you doing?
Oh, good, thanks. How are you?
Brilliant. I can't complain. Nice to have you on the panel. Let me quickly catch up with the chat, see if there's anything to address, then I'll come back to you. I like Timo, but he cannot do it in the Premier League. He should move on for his sake and Chelsea's sake. Again, that's another way to see it. But sometimes we get confused because every now and then we see flashes of brilliance from him, and you go, wow, oh, he may well be able to do it. But then again, it just seems as if those flashes of brilliance happen when we play against teams, where we find spaces behind their defensive line, and we're quick in transition. You see Timo scoring goals, but you never know. He says, David Smith, do you any knowledge when he's leaving? Because I'm tired of him hearing the same story. Thank you. We're not sure. We're not sure again, which is following the story, and it's nothing. We haven't seen anything new today. But if we do, you will surely hear about it. It makes sense all on our side, but I don't think Juventus will agree to such a deal. Again, it depends on how they want Timo. If they seriously do want Timo, then we'll say, okay, give us Chiesa and you take him. If you want cash, we should be able to ask cash to that. And again, it depends on how they want him. If they're serious about getting him, they may well do that. Gabriel Jesus will be good for Chelsea. However, I don't see City selling him to Chelsea. I think Pep, he's never been that manager that usually reluctant to sell players to opposition teams. If it's decided you're surplus to requirement, well, whatever teams that comes for you with the right money, he'd sell to you. I haven't seen him be reluctant in selling to opposition teams. To him, it's nothing. He enjoys rivalry, but not to that extent. I see that actually as petty in most cases. Gabriel Jesus is not the best player in the world, and I don't know how else to phrase it. He says Werner is likely to leave the club because of fake number 10 cannot go anywhere for some reason. And I want to know who you refer as fake number 10. Please do help me. No, the whole team met the new owners, not just Pulisic. Okay, now it's better. If that's the case, then that's not an issue. But if, for what I read, I think they're speaking as if he met with them in private, where the whole players are. And that they might have met differently out of the meeting that involved the owner and the whole players, but we don't know. We'll find out. Thank you for addressing the issue of player power. It can spoil things. Yeah, it can be dangerous. You could argue that's the reason why we've not been able to keep managers for a long while. Even some managers you could argue that were successful at Chelsea, but were fired unjustly. Carlo Ancelotti is a prime example, who won us a double and was fired via text message again, and that isn't good. And I think at the time he had the opportunity to come back to Chelsea, but he refused because he wasn't happy the way he was treated during when he was our manager. Had he stayed then, he's capable of helping us, dominate the Premier League or even dominate Europe for a while, as long as you bring in the players he wants to use. So players are now silent slaves. I'm not sure what that means. Can you elaborate, please? Lionel, let me know if you want the link to the panel. I'd send it to you. Pulisic needs to work on his physicality and finishing, and we will be a different beast, and he will be a different beast. That may well be the case, but we'll see. The whole thing is, I think we've established that he's not leaving. And believe me, that's the case. The way he spoke, you can see the light on his face, but he only wants more game time. But I don't think it would be nice if he doesn't get to play. We'll see some tweets from his father, Adam fuel to fire. I don't think the manager will like that. And that doesn't help Christian Pulisic's case. Ramsey says, every time Pulisic tries to cross the ball or pass the ball, he falls down. I don't know why. I think that's a very good observation. He hits the deck so easily. I've said that also to my friend Fahim. I just don't know why. Man of the match for US again, perhaps one coach uses him correctly and one doesn't use him correctly. That's a very good argument on his day. One thing I've always said on this panel is he's a big game player. He's proven he can actually do well in big games. If you check back, actually his worst games has been when he played against smaller teams. So he's a big game player, and that's maybe if he plays in his preferred position, he may well do better. But let's see. I hope that's the case. I feel like if players have to meet with the owners, the coach has to be there and listen. That's when they all meet together. But that's a chance they've met in private. The way he spoke again. But we'll see. I think maybe I have to read it again. Maybe I didn't read it well. He's missing cities again. We've talked about that. Werner needs to go. He cannot score in the Premier League. Again, that's your argument. Says he isn't the only player to talk to Bali. Has never occurred. The players want to know what directions the club is going. That may well, the discussion may start like that, but that's a chance player gets the opportunity to talk about playing time. That's the thing. My point is, if they are meeting with the owner individually, I don't think it's okay. If they meet as a group, then that's fine. But what you're saying here, yes, you're agreeing that they may have met individually, but you're saying that what they talked about will be the direction that the club will be going. That's fine, but that's a chance it leads to playing time. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, then that's fine. Then I'm not concerned anymore. Ramsey Stephen, these players have played where Tuchel has asked them. Again, this is a conversation between the two. To be realistic, we now have new American owners who will favor their citizen in which, I'm sorry, no, that's not going to, It's not going to be direct like that. I have to be honest with you. Nice to see you here, A. Solomon. Always nice to see you. And to my brother Tobago, who's on the panel. Again, Ivy Tesla wants to be our sponsor. I'd love that. I'd really love that. Somebody has actually made a shirt for that. So he's, again, as Tobago saying, please, and again, please, let me see. We have 39 likes. We can do better than that. We're almost measuring how much we've streamed. So please, if you don't mind, like the stream to help us reach more people. The more people we reach, the more the show will be fun. I've seen my brother Matt commenting. I will share the link with you in a bit. So I'm just going to go back to the panel, and I will be highlighting, the comments that I think we need to address. So coming back to the panel, Tobago, did you come with a fight today, or did you come in peace? Yeah, I'm glad I can make you laugh.
I came with a small fight.
So, brother, talk to us. Do you have something else? Do you have updates for us, or do you want to talk about Timo Werner? Juventus are looking to sign Timo Werner.
To be honest, first of all, like I've been reading news on Twitter and stuff. Chelsea fans wanting Lukaku to go, blah 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 blah. Let's be honest here. The time we got Timo Werner from Leipzig, we said this is the striker we always wanted. What happened? He didn't score. A lot of chances that were created for him, we end up saying, look, we want a striker. We put the club under pressure. We need a striker so that it can be a finishing product. So, my say now, if Lukaku is going, also Timo Werner needs to go because he didn't do his job.
So you're on a revenge mission.
Look, the reason why we got the strike is because of Timo Werner didn't do his job. Am I correct?
Partially, it wasn't just him. Lots of them were missing the sitters. It wasn't just
how
Timo.
How many times did Timo Werner miss in the first season under Lampard?
I have to be honest, a lot.
Yes, so
yeah, that was a time actually. He was in such a poor form that if he scores, it'd be a surprise. He was in such a poor form. Also, you could say the officiating, and he wasn't quite lucky with the VAR decisions. But go ahead.
Yeah, so all I'm saying, if you are going to sell Lukaku, we need to sell Timo Werner also. Have a fresh start, so that everything is clear. Because like having Timo Werner in the third season is a waste for us because he won't do anything. They gave him 2 seasons, still nothing. So we need to change moving forward.
Here's the thing: even if we need to change, there's something I've said here before. I could say I've alluded to on this show on the Blue Money show. It says now, for obvious reasons, the club's priority will be to fix the defensive department because we're losing about 4 players. We're losing Antonio Rudiger, Andreas Christensen, Marcus Alonso. And there's a chance we lose Cesar Azpilicueta, and like I've said a million times, he's probably waiting to be sure the club is okay before he leaves. He's that good of a person. He loves the club that much. Now, why do I mention those players? Because clearly it'd be stupid for the club not to prioritize fixing, signing defensive players before any other area. That's a chance they can do the signing simultaneously and even sign players in the attacking area, like or midfield area. But again, the priority will be, the focus will be mainly on to bring in defensive reinforcement, and there's a chance we may not have time enough to look at the attacking area. And if that's the case, the club may be reluctant to sell players in that area. Am I making sense, Tobago? Yeah, so Bobby, I'm going to come back to you. Looks like we've lost Tobago for a minute. Bobby, I don't know if you understand what I just explained.
Sorry, just recap me.
Here's the way I'm saying. Yeah, because we're talking about Timo Werner leaving Juve. Juve wanting to sign Timo Werner, and we've also talked about how Hakim Ziyech would want to leave. But the question is also, would the club want to let them go? Why did I say that? Because the fact is, now the focus will be in the defensive to bring in defensive reinforcements, because we're losing about 4 players there potentially. So if that is the focus will be there, so which means that there's a chance that may not be time enough. We may not have time enough to to look beyond the defensive department and start going for attacking players. You get my point now. So that may well be another reason why the club would decide, okay, let's just focus in the defensive area, solve the problem we have there. Then next come January window, we can now try to fix any issues we have in the attacking area. Because if you remember, Thomas Tuchel himself said it openly that the restrictions haven't helped us. You understand? And I think he's probably referring. Yeah. So go ahead.
I mean, if Timo leaves, you're right. We don't necessarily have to replace him. We've got Armando Broja, who I believe can do twice the job he does, and it increases the responsibilities on Hakim Ziyech, which should dissuade him from wanting to leave. So it's not necessarily a replacement that has to happen. And of course, with Dembele coming in, it's a sort of replacement for him anyway, already at the door. So that is almost a seamless sale. And you're right, the midfield and the defense has to be a lot of the focus. But then we have this conundrum in centre forward position. Now, I have to say, I was listening to Monster. You know Monster?
Yeah. Go ahead.
The YouTuber. I was listening to him, and he seems quite favourable to Lukaku, but he was saying some really interesting things. And one of the things he was saying was, "How are you sure that Lukaku really is this difficult person in the dressing room? He might not be." And why that got me thinking was that, to be fair to Lukaku, I have not seen any instance of him being discouraging to the team. When we play games, and he's always, there geeing up the youngsters. They may not always listen to him, but he's always trying to take that lead that he doesn't really have. So I don't know how much of a disruption he really is, because I am slightly prepared for him not to leave, because of the difficulty of making any kind of beneficial sale from him. So yeah, I mean, there's your answer. Do we need to replace Timo? Not particularly.
And he may again. There's a chance he will not leave.
Who, Timo?
Yeah. Like
there's a chance Timo will not leave, but as I've said, Timo is very much at risk, because he is somebody that will suffer game time. He will. If Dembele comes, Broja comes, and we've got what's his name? Oh gosh, Ziyech as well. I'm not sure Timo's going to get a look in. I really am not, and rightly so. What has he done to deserve to be that competition? And Timo doesn't strike me as the kind of person that enjoys being on the bench, so he will look to leave. He will want to leave. I'm not. I am sort of pushing him out the door, because I think if he's had 2 seasons, I think he is very, very, of all the forwards, he is the most at risk.
Yeah, but I think I've heard you say that made on many occasions, but I truly do understand why you're saying that. I think we need consistency. We don't need just to see flashes of brilliance for players. Players have to show consistency, for a stretch of time, and then we can say, okay, yeah, now you're a Chelsea player and good enough to stay here. But that's, by the way, I'm going to come to you, Fanton. You let me know what you think about the rumors that Juve wants to, take Timo Werner from us, and I've suggested, okay, if that's the case,
Juve has nothing to offer us. What the team that does have something to offer us is Bayern Munich. Now, if Robert Lewandowski doesn't want to stay at Bayern Munich or renew the contract, then we should talk to Bayern Munich about a straight swap, Timo for Lewandowski, because Timo is, Julian Nagelsmann is the head coach or the manager of Bayern, right?
That's a brilliant point.
Huh?
That's a brilliant point.
And Julian Nagelsmann was his head coach at Leipzig back when Timo had his best year. So it's kind of like the Ten Hag thing with Hakim Ziyech. So I know that Julian Nagelsmann would want him at Bayern. And I think that Timo would want to go to Bayern because his mentor coach is at Bayern Munich. So we have a partner for a straight swap. Juventus has nothing to offer us unless they have some sort of, center back that I don't know about.
you just brought up a brilliant point. It makes sense. We're looking at Chiesa given the fact that Juventus wants him. So I'm going to go to Matt. Your thoughts on the point that Phantom just made now?
Yeah, big up, coach. Big up, Bobby. Big up, Phantom.
Big up, brother.
Having me on. No, Phantom has a fantastic point. For me, I think Werner is out the door. I want him out the door. I was a massive fan of him last season, and when we signed him, I always tried to support him, but I think his time's up. He's 24, 25, whatever he is. His job was supposed to come in and have an immediate effect. We gave him that leverage of a half a season, 1 season off. He still didn't turn up. We gave him this season. He didn't turn up even at all. I think he even dropped more this season. So I would definitely send him off. Hopefully a domino comes in effect. We see Lewandowski leave, and then that's an open spot for Bayern, and then we can come in and Werner can excel at Werner to Bayern. But Phantom has a good point. He may want to go to Bayern because of his former manager. Obviously the one who taught him, who made him into.
He was on fire under him.
100%. In the same league as well. So I would be happy for him to go back to the Bundesliga. I think for the sake of his career, if he wants to, play better, because I think a lot of footballers, their main priority is to play better for themselves, for the love of the game. So I would definitely send him to a place like Bayern where he can go back to his roots and find his form, because he's not going to have it in the Premier League ever. He's never going to have it. It's unfortunate. The way he plays is very, he needs a lot of space, he needs a lot of time, he needs less pressure. And a place like the Bundesliga is his home. So I would definitely send him to Bayern if we can. But yeah.
Yeah, for Phantom, I feel like I owe you a bottle of beer right now. That's a brilliant idea. We were looking at the wrong place. And again, it does make perfect sense. And I think Julian and Nagelsmann will probably feel like, okay, I think, something just came to mind. I think they have an issue renewing Gnabry's contract, right?
There's some issue going with the Gnabry. Yep, I'm hearing that.
Yeah, and he's actually looking to leave. So that's another player we may well say, okay, give. He doesn't like Nagelsmann or something. You may say, okay, give us Gnabry and take him, and Gnabry will be a perfect Thomas Tuchel player. He's got.
I think you're right for that, but I mean, I'm not a fan of Gnabry. I think he's a great player. I mean, 2020, he owned 2020. Like that was his career season. I think he's a great player, but I always look at the Bundesliga tax that he has. I look at how he plays, and the difference between he was a killer at Arsenal, or Tottenham, whichever one it was. I think it was Arsenal.
Even last year, my first choice for a striker was not Haaland, was not Lukaku, was not anybody else except Robert Lewandowski. That's who I wanted last year.
And I want to bring.
But he doesn't want to come to us.
Gnabry, Lewandowski are players that we should look at them. We should be interested in, but I don't think we should sign players like Sane. He's 100% off the list. Sane he is not even performing in the Bundesliga. Why would you bring him to a higher league? Lewandowski, I think he should end his career somewhere in Saudi Arabia, China, or League One, or somewhere else that's not the Premier League, because he's going to come in and he's going to fight for nothing. What's he have to fight for? He's coming here for a holiday. He's 34. He's not going to put 100% in. Even Bayern this season, he's still killing it in Bayern. Top goal scorer, whatever he is. But what makes you say he's going to come into a Chelsea team, a new team, a harder league, a harder, perspective, more pressure, and put in 100%? I don't see that from Lewandowski. That's why I wouldn't get him. And again, he's on massive. He would want more wages as well. Obviously, it's his last contract. He's retiring. He's not coming to win more stuff. He doesn't have that urgency to come in the Premier League to win that stuff. He should have done that 3-4 years ago. Now it's his time just to rest and come to a league where he can just have fun and take a holiday. So I think Barcelona would be the perfect option, because who doesn't want to go to Barcelona to retire?
This is a serious argument from you. I want to get Bobby started before I bring in IBZ. IBZ, welcome to the panel, brother. How are you doing?
How are we doing today? Can you hear me well?
Brilliant. I can't complain. Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Bobby, I'm really sorry. Can I just say something about what Phantom said, and indeed what Matt said, which are both excellent points. But Phantom said Juventus have nothing to offer. I think we were looking at what's that Dutch centre back?
Chiesa.
No,
Delete.
We have had our eye on Delete for a while, so they do have that to offer. But whether it's as good a deal as getting Werner to where he clearly would play better, which is the Bundesliga, is very debatable.
I think that's another point. Actually, that did not come to mind, because my focus was the attacking area. But I think Delete will be another option if we can get them for Werner. But again, we'll see. It depends on what Thomas Tuchel wants. Let me quickly catch up with the chat, and I'll come back to LBZ. But Matt, he made some brilliant point. And before I continue, please, I want to urge you to take a second to drop more like on the video to help us reach more people. The more people we have here, the more the stream will be fun. So please take a second, drop a like on the video, help us reach more people. Please do that. And if you haven't, do subscribe to the channel. Before I continue, also go check out Matt Zivoli's YouTube channel, one of the best up and coming YouTube channels, the fastest growing. Also, make sure to subscribe. And I'll try to remember to share the link to his channel when the video is ready. But please go check out this content. At least check out this content before you subscribe, so that you don't feel like I'm pushing you into anything you wouldn't like. I think we've gone beyond Lukaku. He would be Werner's interest to leave if he can. He won't get much game time next season. That's a chance that happened. That's also, you could argue also, there's a chance he does even better next season, but I doubt that. Again, we've seen his best, and it's not good enough. Again, he's never been consistent for us. Blaming the coach for playing players out of position. Again, you slug it out with. I think I know who you're arguing with right there. Timo might be willing to take a pay cut to leave to be in the World Cup. I think Bobby also did talk about that. Germans, it's not always about money for them. They want to play football. Most of them, at least that's how most of us believe that's the case. Lukaku, Ziyech, and Pulisic all have not been used right. Excuse me. We should get more dynamic players. Again, I think we should get more dynamic players if that's the case. But still, the truth is they've used and places doesn't suit them. But then again, that begs the question: why do you play football if you're still in the attacking area? You switch from one left to right, you cannot perform. Again, it just doesn't make sense. It was the whole team that met with the new owners. Okay, I stand corrected. Thank you very much for the corrections from my brother, also Lionel Joel, and you too. So thank you. Lacazette is free, and you're laughing. So because the response, you're gonna get there. I don't think Chelsea will go for Lacazette. And my brother DJ Sab says, happy blue morning, afternoon, Coachila, the panel, and everyone in the chat. I always like reading your greeting because it's very special. Nice to see you there. Where are the signings? I think we didn't start again. I think it would take a bit of time, but I think we'll get in the players we want. Maybe not the best of the players we have on our list, and that's because we didn't start talking to many of them on time due to the restrictions in place. Even if we talked with them, we're not allowed to round off or to wrap up the signings. Again, let's see here. Anything else? We need a Chiesa. Well, some people will argue that, but I think Tuchel may think otherwise, and other people may think otherwise also. One thing I noted, we created a lot of chances. Then Timo was playing when Tuchel came in. Then Lukaku came in, and we don't see those chances that much. We don't see that much chances anymore. I think you could argue that I don't have the numbers to say whether that's the truth or not. Again, I don't think there's anything else here. Are we likely to see Christensen in no, I don't think that. That's wait, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think let's talk about this a bit. There's a chance the Christensen move to Barcelona. There's a chance it falls through. Why? That's because they don't have the money and they're struggling. I know we've all heard the stories. That's the reason why they're they want Lewandowski, but they haven't done anything serious about it. So let me come to you, IBZ. Let me know. But one thing I must say clearly, I don't think the club will say, okay, since that the deal has fallen through, you can stay. You can come take the contract we had at the table for you. I don't think that will happen. We should do a deal with Vlahovic and Werner. Do you think they'd let us have Vlahovic? I'd take him anytime, any day if they will agree. Apparently,
oh no, please no
Vlahovic has not lived up to his expectations, despite him only joining in January. I think it's not been a bad purchase for them, and they know that. But LBZ, can you talk about that? Your thoughts on what was it again that I talked about? Andres Christensen, the deal falling through, and do you think the club will say, okay, stay?
For Christensen,
yeah.
I said when I saw the. I hope you guys can hear me because I'm just outside my garden.
Yeah, maybe get a bit closer to your mic.
Okay. So what I'm saying is with Andres Christensen, I believe the talks may reopen only because of our new ownership, and they may want to re-enter talks. And it may seem as a possibility with Barcelona having issues with the financial situation regarding Christensen, Lewandowski. Those parameters make it a bit difficult. But I've said it. I said it at the back of my head. And I'm like, you see, Andres, I think he's staying. I think they might re-enter talks, and that might be done because it's not like Rudiger's situation where it's signed, sealed, and delivered. This is not a Rudiger. He's not even said his goodbyes. So this is something that we can watch this space and see what happens. It can go either way, but I have a knack for believing that he may stay. He may not just up and leave on a free. I believe that we may re-enter talks for that. Yeah.
Do you think the club will be okay with him staying after? Because it's like you could argue what he did was disrespectful to the club.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, but it's all about intentions and knowing where both parties stand and seeing if they can re-enter talks and come up afresh. Obviously, it was agreed before. Then he messed up the deal. Then obviously that fell through. There was lack of patience. With the situation. So I hope that we can re-enter talks and find some middle ground because I'll hate to lose him for free. He's part of our, what I mean? He's been with us since 2012. That's near on 10 years or so. So, I'll hate to lose him for free and he goes to Europe and he does well like Fikayo, like Abraham, you know what I mean? So I wouldn't want to see that. So if we can try and re-enter talks with it, if we have the ability to, now we do with our new ownership, definitely let's go. It's a new ownership, so anything is possible right now.
So your advice would be for us to swallow our pride and just give him another chance. I think that may well happen. Why? Because circumstances may well push us to do that. You get the point. Circumstances, yeah. But under normal circumstances, I don't think the club would do that. But that's by the way. And I'll come back to you. I like listening to your points, but you make a good point there. Fairboy, your thoughts on this one? We'll be addressing things we're looking at on the screen. Then we can come back to possibility of Werner leaving and whether we can get another good player, as an exchange.
Sorry, just to cut you off. I'm very sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, go ahead, brother. No problem. That's why we're here. If you have anything important you want to say, chip in.
In regards to Vlahovic leaving Juventus, That is a no-go. The guy just signed, say, what, 6 months ago or so? To say that in 6 months, I don't even think that's even feasible. To leave in the same, to leave 2 years, 2 clubs in the same year. But even if that's so, I don't see that happening. And if
and do you really agree he hasn't done well at Juve?
no, no, he has done well. He's done.
I think otherwise too. Yeah, but go ahead.
How old is he? He's 21. So what we expecting him to be Lewandowski levels? No, but he's done well for what he's coming, and he's done well coming from is it Fiorentina?
It was Fiorentina.
Yeah, from Fiorentina coming to Juventus and just hitting the ground running. He's scoring a lot of goals. You know, he did better than Morata when Morata came in from July than when he's coming in January. So I believe he's not going anywhere. We should look elsewhere. We're not even thinking of Vlahovic. But yeah, I don't know about Werner going to Juventus. I don't know where. I've just seen this now, so I'm going to look into that further and see what's going on with that. But we shouldn't be selling if we're not thinking of picking people now. So yeah,
that's a good argument. Fabo, your thoughts are, let's start you with the Andres Christensen story. There's a chance that the deal falls through, given Barcelona they're still in financial, distress, no matter how you like it or not. Your thoughts?
So there's a possibility Christensen is not going to sign for Barcelona. That's the issue, right? Okay. Well, if he is not able to sign for Barcelona, well, if he's also not going to sign a contract for us, that means that he's not going to be attached to a club. So that's what happened. So if a player does not sign a contract with his club and is not affiliated to any other club, then that means that he's going to be there, not attached. Well, I think my good friend here talked about the fact that maybe because Todd Boehly, or we've had a new administration and Todd Boehly is our new owner, perhaps we can open talk with him. This young man has made it clear that he does not want to play for us. Let's not get it twisted. He does not want to play for us. So why do we waste our time to try and talk to him whilst we can even get better players that are much more better than him? You understand? So I think that it won't be a wise use of our time or our resources trying to convince Christensen to stay. Right? If he's decided that he does not want to play for us and he wants to be unattached, that is him. Okay. I don't think we need to revisit this issue because I think his time for us at Chelsea has been done and dusted. That's what I think about the deal.
Okay, Bobby, let me come back to you quickly. I'll get. Let me just go. Okay, let me go to DJ because he hasn't spoken. The DJ, the question I want to ask you is this: do you think there's a chance the club looks beyond what he's done, because it was insulting? At least that's the way I see it. I wasn't at the table with them during negotiations to know what he did really. You get my point?
Yeah.
Do you think there's a chance the club would look beyond all that, and then given the circumstance we found ourselves in, because it will be a quick solution?
That's a very interesting question. I, for one, don't think the club will look beyond it personally. I mean, when a player says they want to leave and they've done everything in their power to get out of the football club, for me, that's a no-go. You just leave. I know what your friend said earlier. I don't know what the gentleman's name is who said that is a possibility that Christensen may stay because of Barcelona's financial issues. Yeah. But from what I understand, this deal to Barcelona was wrapped up some time ago. And if they are having some financial issues, then this is obviously a situation that...
I think the main thing is registering players.
Registering players. But I also know that they've also got the same issue with Lewandowski as well. So, look, for me, even if he doesn't go to Barcelona, I like Christensen because obviously he came through our ranks, he did things, but when a player is showing so much like I don't want to be at your football club anymore, despite the club doing everything in their power to keep him, that for me means no go. You don't want to keep an unhappy player at a football club, as far as I'm concerned. So for me, if we can't get him to Barcelona, then he should move on to somewhere else. I mean, as I said, I do like Christensen as well. I've got no hatred towards the guy. I don't have any hatred towards any of our players. I just want them to wear that badge with pride and to go out there every week in, week out and do well for the football club. That's what I want to see them do. If they don't want to do that, for me, I don't know if there can be, if there's anything going back to that, because, you know, he's made it perfect. I mean, he even changed his agents, all right, to get out of the football club. Yeah. And, you know, that for me in itself is telling me the guy doesn't really want to be there. And even though he'd won the Champions League under Thomas Tuchel, you would think a lot of these players will think, okay, you know what? You know, let's hang around for another season. Let's see what we can do. But because obviously we had these issues with the sanctions and stuff, some of these players just found an easier way of leaving the football club because they thought this club was done for now. Nothing's going to happen with the owners. So let's just move on and go. And I think he was one of them. And obviously when they say a club like Barcelona comes in for you, you never say no. But for me, you know, I for one, you know, as I said before, I want a player to play for us. If he doesn't want to play for us, then I'd say move on from it. That's just my honest thought on it. But like I said, I've got no hatred towards Christensen at all.
No, that's fair.
I just want to say, DJ, yeah, big up to DJ. Yeah, obviously, fantastic speech there.
Big up to
you know, Coach knows about me. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of Christensen as a player, and I don't think realistically he's ever going to come back in a Chelsea kit. You know, if Barcelona deal doesn't go through, send him to Saudi Arabia for I care. Just send him to some other league because he's definitely not going to come in and put his heart out like he supposedly ever did. You know, he really didn't put his heart on the pitch when he was a Chelsea player. What says he's going to come as a Chelsea, you know, kind of a reject in a sense and put 100% in? He's definitely not going to do that. So I hope Barcelona gets the deal doing like this. You know, he'll do great there. He'll have a great holiday there. He'll enjoy himself there. But if the Barcelona does not get that deal done, he's definitely not coming back to Chelsea.
And we shouldn't, under any circumstance, you know, take him back because I think it sets a dangerous precedent. But again, that's me. Bobby, do you have anything to say to that before we move ahead?
Yeah. Gosh, there's so many bones to pick out of this conversation. The Christensen thing, yes, we have to wait and see. The whole sort of Pulisic saga, I've already gone over that with you. Timo, well, another wait and see. I don't have anything really to add to this at this point. The 10th, which is Thursday next week, will be very revealing.
Yeah, it looks like we lost Bobby there. Max, are you there? Max, good afternoon to you. I know it's
hey guys.
Well, blue morning to you because you're on the Blue Morning Show. How you doing, brother?
Big up, Max.
Blue morning. Yeah, big up to everyone on the panel. Yeah, nice to see you guys.
Big up. Nice to see you too, Max. Look at where we are right now. I think, let me bring you to this comment on the screen. Triple says, we have been linked with Delete and Rabiot, a DM from Juve, and a centre-back that, you know, who's, you know, a strong character in terms of leading the back line, Delete himself. Now, we heard that Juventus, they're looking at Werner. And I think it was Phantom that suggested, how about we try, I'm not sure if Bayern wants Timo Werner now. How about we try, to take him to Bayern and take Lewandowski. And then we started thinking about Gnabry and then Leroy Sané. And so what do you think would be the best option for the club now? Because to me, I'd say since the defensive line is a priority right now for us, why not, if really Juve wants him, and it looks like Delete himself wants to leave Juve. I've heard that rumors before. If that's the case, why not we say, okay, you can come take a Werner from us and give us Delete, or even a Rabiot if we're looking for a DM, really. It depends on what the manager wants to prioritize. But either if you want a player plus cash, we can do that. Your thoughts, Matt? What do you think we should do?
Delit's a decent player, but it all depends on what his wages are going to be as well. Because I heard that they wanted big money for him, and we got to prioritize on our defense, but at the same time, we don't. We need to. We've got 200 million to spend, or so we have to look at that as well. So if they're looking at 80 million for a defender, I don't think it's going to be the best spend of our money, especially if we're going to be talk about 50 to 55 for Kounde. And rather than getting Dele in, I'd like someone like a Koulibaly or someone who's got a 1 year left on his contract. He'll be available around about 30 million, and he's experienced as well. So everything is all for me. It's all on the price as well, being quoted, and where we can get best value for money. Because we've been burnt already with the Lukaku situation, where we spent big money on a player. I know with Dele he's younger and he's got. I just think 80 million or whatever the quote is too much. If they are welcome to a swap deal with Timo Werner, we'll still have to put a bit of money on top of that because Timo Werner is probably not valued at 80 million. So if it's Timo Werner and 20 million on top, maybe I'll be happy with that because that kills two birds with one stone, doesn't it? You get rid of a player who's probably not going to have a future at Chelsea, and you get in a player in an area that you badly need. So that will work for me. Rabiot, I'm not sure about. Is he better than what we have at the moment? I think we need a better profile of defensive midfielder for me. When I saw Rabiot when he played against us twice, and I've followed his career, he's decent, but I don't think Chelsea no longer can do decent. We've got to do brilliant, not just decent. I want a top quality defensive midfielder coming in if we are going to get one. Not just somebody who can come in, just do a okay job for me.
So to you, that's okay. But I get your point. Anybody else want to add anything to that before we move on to the topic, or you want to add anything else that you've heard us discuss, Max?
Because I was listening before, because when I think Bobby was on with you and you were talking about the Lukaku situation. I couldn't come on yet because I was having some food. But with the Lukaku one, I find it baffling. I've mentioned this on a video I made the other day as well. Remember we had that discussion a few weeks last week, I think it was, Coachila, when we were talking about the fee, 97 million pound fee, and someone I think asked in the chat whether we can now write that off because of Roman Abramovich leaving, and I think I came on at the time and said that's not the way it works because we don't pay when we ask for a fee. When we're paying a fee, 97.5, we don't pay that up front. You pay a portion of it. Yeah, and then over the course of the contract, then you then pay. Maybe depending on how it's been structured, it could be that you're paying 20 million a season till the end of that contract or whatever. So for me, my question is, which has always been a bit baffling, is that we still owe Juventus money.
70.
Inter. Inter, sorry. We still owe Inter money. So if we were giving him back to Inter, then in effect we're still paying them for a player who's going to be loaned back to them, which for me doesn't make a lot of sense at all. And I know some people may say in the chat, okay, why don't we just, if we're giving them back, why don't we just forego that 70 million that is owed to us, and then that's it. We just wipe the slate clean. But it's not as simple as that, because I think because they needed the money with a 97-point thing, so that's guaranteed to them by Chelsea. And obviously, they are probably going to be using that money to pay back debts and things. Because once the bank knows that they've got that money coming in, then how they know that they're going to be getting money from Chelsea over the course of a few seasons. Then I think that allows them to do that payment. But if that we get him back. If they get him back, and then I don't know how it works. Then what happens? Does that money get written off, or we do have to find a payment? That's why I think it's very complicated. The deal is going to be. That's why I don't think that's not going to happen. A more realistic.
So you think it's not going to leave? Is that what you're saying?
It's just too complicated how it can be structured for me. For me, I think I heard that the club are trying to push him towards Bayern, and that one for me would make more sense. Lewandowski said he was out. Bayern need a striker in the Bundesliga. He'll be scoring 30 goals a season. Mark my words. You know the amount of space they get behind their defence. He'll have a field day because it's similar to what happened. You saw in Italy. We had lots of space to run into. Give him the space, and he'll produce for you. You know. So I just think a Lewandowski, Lukaku swap with them giving us a little bit of money on top may work. That may be the best way forward if all parties are in agreement with that. So for me, that makes better sense.
Yeah, it is a very, very complicated situation. If we try to sell him to another club and we sell him for less, it's not Inter's business. We have to pay them how much we owe them. They don't care whether we're selling for a penny or for a pound. We owe them 70 plus. We have to pay them 70 plus. So, but that was why I thought maybe selling him back to Inter would be the most viable option. But like you've explained, I think it becomes even more complicated if we're dealing with Inter. I get your point. Phantom, it looks like you're back here to make a point. I'm waiting to hear you.
Oh, my cell phone was
Big up,
heating
DJ.
up for some reason that it doesn't like to be on StreamYard for very long. But anyways, if Lukaku is going to enter, then he has. Then let's say if what is his salary now? 250.
I think 300.
300
plus.
320,
Okay,
325.
So if Inter's willing to pay half that, then that's all he gets because we're not going to pay him to play for Inter. That's my thing. I don't care if he sits on the bench for us at 300. We're not going to let him go back to Inter and then be paid on top of Inter and then get Chelsea money. So if he wants to go back to Inter, he can go back for whatever Inter's willing to pay for him per season. You know, as far as the loan deal is concerned, that's the way I look at it. Either that, or we'll put him in the development squad and rot. That's the way I would do it.
It's not that simple. It's not that simple because if you like, go put him in the development squad tier Z. He's to be earning that money. Again,
yeah, that's right. But you know what? I mean. I would not reward this guy. I mean, if he wants to go to another team, that's fine, but we got to get some value out of it. I mean, not necessarily $100 million, but maybe half that. You know, didn't PSG said that they were interested in Lukaku or something?
I think that was just nonsense. That was just some nonsense out there.
I think that was when they thought Mbappe was leaving.
Yeah,
he won't stay there now.
Do you think it was true, Max?
There's always going to be there's a lot of paper talk around, and I think if Conte had gone there, then yes, that's the only way I could have seen him go to Inter. Because I mean, to PSG, because there's talk that Conte may have.
How about this? We send him to Tottenham. He can be a double striker with Kane, and we get Sung-Min Hyun. Wow.
Yeah, that would never happen. Max, look at this input here from Josh. Josh, nice to see you here, brother. I understand, probably too early for you. And again, but I appreciate you finding time to join. He says, sounds like if Lukaku goes on loan, Chelsea will accept a zero financial responsibility for him. Is that something helpful, you think? Max is gone. IBZ, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, I was saying, it looks like Max is back, but I'll come back to you in a bit, IBC.
I saw the chat, sorry, because I pressed the wrong button on my phone.
Yeah.
That's why.
So your thoughts on that comment, is this something, is it even, do you think the club would do that? Is it possible any club would take him and say, okay, yeah, we'll be fine, you don't have to spend anything?
No, Chelsea wants some money back on their investment. So, as I said, the only way it would work is if Juventus say to us somehow that we don't have to finish paying out what we owe them. That's the only way it can work. With Lukaku's, in answer to Phantom's one about Lukaku apparently said he's willing to take a pay cut to go and play. So he's willing to drop his salary by 50%, which is he'll do that. That's how badly he wants out of the club. But Juventus are still broke. If Juventus weren't broke, then they would pay
You're
back
talking
that
about
money.
Inter, right?
Inter, well, I keep saying Juventus. Yeah, sorry. Inter are still broke.
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
So Inter are still broke. Yeah, so that's why there's talk about them maybe having to sell another player. And there's talk of Lautaro Martinez going as well. So that may be another option if we can get Martinez instead of Lukaku, possibly. But they like playing with each other as well. So I'm not sure whether they'll But as I said, it's very complicated. It's a very complex deal to work out. So
yeah, I was going to ask you another question quickly, Max. Let me just try and take care of something in the chat here and come back to you. This is Josh explaining what he said before, meaning they wouldn't be paying, that is, Chelsea won't be paying any of his salary. He will have to get that from the loan club only. Again, it makes sense,
that's
but...
That's what he said. He's going to take a pay cut because that would be... that would really be taking the biscuit if that happened. If we loaned him back to the team that we bought him for, still paying for his for the transfer fee and paying for some of his wages as well. I know that we've been called Charities FC in the past, but that would be taking charity.
Like I said, if I was Chelsea's owner and they were pushing for this, I'd rather just put him on the development squad rot and then eat his salary, but make him, it'd be scorched earth. That's what I would call it.
I hear what you're saying there, but again, we are a business and we're going to be run more like a business under the Baileys. And for me, that's not doing us any good neither, because what it does is we'll be still paying that salary. At least if we loan him somewhere, then we wouldn't have to fork out that salary. And B, what happens, and we've seen it in the past with players at Chelsea, is that he is just going to be a bad influence around the players there, and it's going to have a negative impact on the squad. So the best thing is to sort of get him out of the team altogether. We don't want a bad apple in there influencing the rest of the squad and bringing them down.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, input makes perfect sense. Again, it's a good thing that he's taking a pay cut. Lukaku's taking a pay cut. That will make the whole thing a bit easier. So I'm going to quickly catch up with the chat. Before I do that, we have 99 people watching right now. At the time, we have around 117 to 120. If you haven't, we have just 58 likes. If you haven't, please take a second to like that video. It doesn't cost anything, and it doesn't take much energy to facilitate that. Just click on it and you're done. And if you haven't, please do subscribe to the channel to help it reach a 3K as soon as possible. Right now, we're 2,383. We're approaching 2,400, and we can get there today with your support. So if you haven't, do like the video and subscribe to the channel. So let me try and catch up here. I've read this before. Dil CFC says if he does a stay, he ends up starting up front. And says he will get a Messi if it does stay. He will indeed, but what are we going to do? Because it's a very, very difficult situation. It's very difficult to find a club to come for him, even for loaning, taking him out for a loan. But we'll see what happens. I'm talking only about wage. Yeah, that's only part of the issue. It gets even more complicated the more you look into it. Lukaku has agreed, pay cut, and we would be getting 16 million loan. I wish Fulham fans would concentrate on his job. Lukaku already accepted pay cut. Yeah, we read that. Again, anything new here to address, I don't think there is. So we should just move on. Marina probably trying to sort it out. That's a chance that's the case. Lee is going, Lewis is going to back once they shift Dest and Dembele. Manchester United are going to buy De Jong, whose fee will fund Lewis' fee. Okay, makes sense now. Again, says, what does it say here? It says, okay, I'm not sure what he's saying there. EPL is not good for Lukaku. He just needs to go out, in Serie 1, Serie A, better for him. He have been struggling for a long time. In the EPL, he needs a lot of space to do well. and I think he'd get that in Serie A and also in Germany. So that's why the Bayern, links makes sense to a certain measure anyway. But do I think is the type of player Bayern would want to have? I don't think so, given his he lacks in terms of his technical abilities. But that's by the way. A question I want to ask the panel now. Let me start with you, Fabo, because you haven't spoken for a while. If Timo Werner stays, is there a chance we'll see a different Timo Werner next year? They say third time is a charm, and this is how long has he been at Chelsea right now?
I think 1.5 years or so.
Yes, so go ahead.
He's been here 2 seasons.
2 seasons.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a lot of time. For that one, we cannot guarantee that, right? We don't know whether he would improve or not. So the best thing to do is to get players who perhaps might do better than him. If let's say if you want a replacement for Timo Werner, who do you think is competent? Because I'm saying Chiesa. I don't know if Chiesa will be linked.
That's just an option, as one of the players. We could ask Juve, okay, if you want him, you could give us this player. If you want player of plus cash, we'll consider that. But then he came up. True Blue made a very good comment there. We're looking for a DM, and we're also looking for defenders. They have Delete, they have Rabiot.
Coach, I hope Chelsea does not repeat that thing again, right?
What do you mean?
That's Saul shenanigans, right? We don't want to repeat that again. Delete for some time now has not been playing his best football. I beg, we cannot take Timo Werner for Delete. There are better defenders out there, right? If you can go to Southampton and say that, well, we have a very good striker in Timo Werner, but we want him in exchange for Mohamed Salisu, I would rather be happy than going for Delete. You understand? Because Delete has not shown the sort of form he had at Ajax. So that would be a serious risk to take. And as for Rabiot, I don't want to talk about Rabiot. No, Rabiot is for me. Rabiot is not that good. He's not that good. I think there are better DMs out there. If we like, we can go to Real Mallorca. There is Baba Idrisu over there. If you can carry Timo Werner there and say, we want Timo Werner, we want Idrisu in exchange for, what am I trying to say? We want Timo Werner, we want Baba Idrisu in exchange for Timo Werner. I think that one is better, right? So, with the question you asked me about whether keeping Timo Werner whether he might improve next season, it's hard. It's hard because I've already asked about how many years he's been with us, and he's been with us for 2 years now. And the way he's playing, I think he's not added value to his game, right? So for me, the best thing is to maybe get rid of him if you can get someone better than him, right? If you can get someone better than him in and can play position better, get rid of him and get that person. But if we can't get that person, maybe it's better to let him stay, right? But it just means that we have to also carry the risk of whatever he would bring. So that's it. Or I would even prefer that we even swap Timo Werner with a better a better winger, right?
And who do you have in mind?
Federico Chiesa is not bad. Sane is good. Gnabry is also good. Okay. Kamaldeen Sulemana is also there.
I'm guessing that's a Ghanaian. I'm guessing a Ghanaian.
Yeah, he's a Ghanaian. No, but he's actually good.
I'd ask you for your ID if you didn't do that. Go ahead.
Oh, but honestly, Kamaldeen Sulemana is a very, very good player. Do you know what he did to Hakimi at Paris Saint-Germain when they beat Paris Saint-Germain by 2-1 or so? he's a very good player. And I think if you put him in this Chelsea side, he would upgrade the Chelsea attack massively. So if you can get players of such caliber, players who are able to control the ball better, players who can play make, right? Players who can combine, who can play in tight spaces better. Because let's say that Thomas Tuchel doesn't change the system and he's playing inside forwards. It is clear that someone like Timo Werner can play there. So if you get a striker who is far superior than Timo Werner in that aspect, then it's good. And in fact, some of the wingers you are linked to are also goal scoring, maybe much better scorers than Timo Werner himself. So it's better we make some changes other than just keep a player who might not be a good fit, then suffer the consequences as we have him with us. So that's for me what we can do with Timo Werner.
Yeah, Max, if you're at work, please do let me know so I know when to bring you in. I'm going to go through the chat and I'll come back to the panel and I want to get Max's Matt from the Zivo.
Yeah, I'm actually off today, so I'm off today. So it's bank holiday here. We're celebrating the Queen's Jubilee, so.
Oh, brilliant!
So I'm available. Yeah.
Oh no! Thank you very much. That means a lot to me. So Matt from Zivoli, I'm going to come back to you in a bit. Sorry, you wanted to say something, Bobby?
Yeah, I've got a couple of player suggestions for Timo Werner, if it's any use. I mean, I'm a fan of Armando Broja. I think he's going to do a very good job in place of Werner, if need be. But looking out there, there's this guy called Gianluca Scamacca. And of course, I'm a huge advocate for Anthony David. I mean, for Jonathan David. So the players
You're talking about Jonathan David.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Jonathan David, I'll bite your arm off for him. I don't know why he's not on Chelsea's watch list anyway. His wages won't be stupid. His price tag won't be stupid. And to me, it's a no-brainer for him. I would have him all day long, especially if Lukaku goes. But, these two are really worth a look. I just don't see... I think Werner has gone, he's used up his chances now. And he has to really go out the door. And, we've got to bring somebody in that's going to be able to score. And I believe these two will score. Either one.
How about this? Go ahead, Max. And Max is having an audio issue. Okay, Matt, let me come to you. Okay, he's back. You back, Max?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, sorry, I'm saying that with David, Jonathan David, I think he's an excellent player, brilliant. But if we're going to be relying on him to score goals, then at the moment his conversion rate isn't as good. He's one goal in every 2.5 games at the moment. Maybe I'm not sure if the chance creations, what the conversion rate is. I haven't done anything like that. Maybe Lille don't create as much chances. Maybe within a team that create a lot of chances, he'll be scoring the goals. I don't know, but technically, he's a very good player. Yeah, and can I just address the Chiesa one? I like Chiesa.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I do like Chiesa, but my only concern is he's had a really bad injury. So I'd have to see how he goes for a season before making that big investment on him. Because if you look at Callum Hudson-Odoi, not sure if you've seen an article with Callum Hudson-Odoi where he's been riddled with this Achilles injury now for 4 years, and that's why he's not as explosive, because everyone's expected him to step up. But that injury, he had a really bad Achilles heel injury that took a lot out of him, and it's still, it's still affecting his game up to today. And that was 3 or 4 seasons ago that he had that injury. So
3 seasons ago.
Exactly. So for me, my concern would be just to see how Chiesa comes back after suffering a serious injury.
Yeah. So with that, before I ask Max the question, I want to ask him Please, if you're watching, we have 103 people watching, where we have just 66 likes. We can do better than that. It doesn't cost anything. Please just like the video to show that you're enjoying the show, to support the channel, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. That will go a long way in the growth of the channel. We're approaching 3,000 subscribers, and we're not far from it. Matt, I'm going to come to you. Matt, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. So I'm just doing work on the side. That's not important.
Okay. Obvious Hamo says, I will let he will let Timo stay again. If we sign Dembele, Timo will score lots of goals. That is, I will bet my car on it, that he's saying, but I think I try to understand what he's saying, but I think I have made sense of it. He thinks bringing in Dembele will make a whole lot of difference for Timo Werner. I think to a certain measure you could say yes, because Dembele is good at putting in crosses, and Dembele doesn't shy away from taking on opposition players. No matter how you press him, no matter how aggressive you are, he'd always try to progress the ball by beating whoever that's marking him, get down the flanks and crossing the ball. I think that he will create a lot more chances on the carpet, preferably for Timo. Your thought, do you think it's something that may well, make a difference for Timo?
Well, Odai, I'll take that bet for your car, because I don't think Timo is ever going to do anything more. I think we said that last season when we brought in Lukaku, Timo will create more chances, this, that. I'm not ready to play around his skills. I'm more thinking, let's remove him so we can get more opportunities in. His time's passed. If you want to bring in another player to help him, I think it's too late. We've done that for. We brought in Havertz, Ziyech, and all these other players to help him as well. And he still didn't get it. And we brought in Lukaku to help him. It didn't happen. I'm not going to give him a third season. For that. I will get Dembele 100%. I think Dembele is a fantastic player if he's in that form and is obviously off that injury prone, list. And he's just an amazing winger. He's a proper winger. Something that we've been looking for. We have Pulisic, but he's just not there. And with the same thing with Werner, we always say his attributes. It's dribbling, it's pace, it's this. That's all on paper. Come game day,
I haven't heard anybody say he can dribble.
I don't know. Whatever he can do, have pace, whatever it is. I don't know whatever attribute. All I know is he's fast. I'm just naming other ones. But the point is that he's all on paper. Come game day, he does none of that. I can't sit here and say, like I just did now, I can't sit here and say, Timo Werner, I'll bring him on for this, this, and this, and this. I can't say that anymore, because he doesn't provide anything to our team anymore. He's just there as a superstar and hope for the best. He had that small run of form, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
You can't keep consistent like that in the Premier League, especially at Chelsea. So I would definitely be replacing him. I think he's the first attacker to go, because as we don't know, 3 years, it's way too long. And I wouldn't swap him for anyone. I would just get quick cash for him, and then we can dictate later on. Maybe we can use this as, for a Dembele, or use for someone. Because I want to swap him for like a Rabiot or something. Whoever we're talking about, Rabiot. I think he's absolute garbage. I think he's shocking, and he's not going to be friends with Chilwell either. Obviously, they don't like each other. So I wouldn't even sell him for another player. I would just sell him for quick cash. I think the League's a decent option. But yeah, that's pretty much it about Werner. I think he's finished, man.
How about the same question from Lukaku's own perspective? Because somebody made that argument yesterday that signing Dembele could, may well make a difference for Lukaku.
See, I'm on the
and my argument was that I don't think even Dembele will make any difference.
With Lukaku, I'm on the edge that, yes, get this man out of the door as soon as possible. But if he stays, I'm not going to be crying. I'm not going to be upset, because, yes, maybe we can I want to bring in Dembele to fix Lukaku. I'll bring in Dembele to help and support the team in general. But maybe we can see it. I'm not going to sit and say, oh, Lukaku, this. I'll give him another shot. He's in our squad. Give him another shot. We did that for 6-7 other of our players. But my first option is to get rid of Lukaku 100%. But I'm not going to bring in Ousmane Dembele in to come and support Lukaku. I'm bringing Ousmane Dembele to come help the team. Dembele will be. I think that's what I'm missing Rudiger a lot now, because Dembele is that player. If you watch Barcelona, Dembele and Arejo are best friends there. Dembele crosses in, Arejo gets ahead to it. Because Arejo is one of the best aerial players. Rudiger was that player who'll get ahead to it. So if we can get someone like that, Dembele will be spamming crosses in, and if someone gets ahead to it, it's going to go in, because his crosses they're different. And he's got a left and right foot. I still don't know what foot he is, because he can do both feet. So he can make a difference for Lukaku, possibly, but I'm not going to come in and say, this is why I want Dembele for Lukaku. No. I want Dembele for my team.
I'll still say, why I don't think even Dembele cannot help Lukaku at Chelsea, because the whole thing comes down to our approach overall, not the personnel. Again, some people argue to some measure it is the fault of the personnel that he's not scoring. He hasn't scored that much goal. But I'll come back to you, Max. Your thoughts on the argument you saw one today yourself. One was last night. Some people arguing that bringing in Dembele could help the likes of Timo Werner and Romelu Lukaku. And somebody's argument, I think it was True Blue, was that Lukaku has had, people like Hakim Ziyech just created a few chances for him, but he didn't. I don't think he even scored 50% of it. But go ahead, Max. You think Dembele will make a difference? And again, Max, thank you for that great point. We're bringing in Dembele to help the team as a unit, not for an individual, because that would be a big mistake. Max, go ahead if you're there.
Yeah, I'm here. Could Dembele help? Yeah, because we are lacking that creative spark. Because in the side, we lack somebody who can sort of take on a man one-on-one. Pulisic is the closest we've got to it, but he's very inconsistent. Ousmane, had he not had that injury, which I referred to earlier, I think he could have been that explosive player that we've got. But the other two, Ziyech doesn't really beat a man. Werner is just a cross and hope sort of player. So with, like Matt quite rightly said, the good thing about Dembele is that he's two-footed, so he'll keep defenders guessing. So he can cross very good with either foot. He can take on a player, and by taking on players, he creates space for people like Lukaku to be able to exploit. So but as I said, he would definitely make a difference. But if Lukaku doesn't want to be here, then I would, still part ways with him, even if Dembele does come in. And Dembele's got that flexibility where he can play across the front line as well. Not probably as a false nine, but as a 10 or on either wing, and be very.
Yeah, but we've agreed that the Lukaku leaving is very
100%.
complicated process, and he may well end up staying at the club. But how about Timo Werner? Because do you think he'd help Timo Werner?
I can't see how it would help Werner, to be honest. It'll probably help him with his warming the bench, probably, yeah. But that's the only way it will help him. Or by looking at Dembele and seeing what it's like for a player to go past an attacker to go past a player with a bit of skill. But Werner, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how it would help Werner's game, to be honest. Because then Werner would have to play down the middle, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Because at the moment he's occupying one of those wide spaces, and he would have to play down the middle. Unless maybe what people are probably saying is if he plays down that left-hand side, and Dembele is playing on the right, where he can get his goals maybe is when the crosses are coming in from Dembele, and Werner is coming in from the left. Maybe he'll get more chance creations. But with Werner, it's not about the creations, chance creation, because where I think he's different to Lukaku is that he's had a lot of one-on-one situations where he's fluffed his lines. His finishing has been poor for Chelsea. Lukaku doesn't get into those positions enough.
Hey, sorry, it's approaching 6 a.m. I'm going to have to go. Sorry.
Oh, you wanted to say something before you leave, Phantom?
Yeah, just that my idea is brilliant. I've been thinking about it for half a season, and I really do want Robert Lewandowski, and I wish Timo Werner the best with his former mentor, Julian Nagelsmann, as a part of Bayern Munich. Okay, good night. Bye.
All right. Thank you very much, bro. I appreciate you finding time to join us. Just while you're still like this, Max, Do you think Timo Werner, probably most realistic destination would be Bayern Munich, given that Nagelsmann is there?
Yeah, that's a possibility, especially if Lewandowski goes. They're used to each other. He likes the player. But the only thing is how much we're asking for the player as well. Because I know that Dortmund were after him as well. But if reports are to be believed, they grew cold, their interest, because Chelsea were asking for too much money. And that's where I think with our club as well, we need to, if we really want to get rid of some players to bring others in, then we've got to be realistic with the price. I'm not saying give people away, but don't ask for over the odds for particular players. Someone like a Bayern may be able to afford it more than Dortmund, but they still will be looking to buy him at a price that they feel is going to be not overinflated. So it all depends on, as I said, what we are going to be asking for this particular player.
Yeah, again, we'll see. And the chance, I know when we first talked about it, it was True Blue in the chat that said, I think he mentioned Bayern wanted him, or who were interested in his signature, but the board were divided, over whether to get him or not. But I think that in this case, I'm sure they were well aware that he had his best form as a footballer under Julian Nagelsmann. So that may well happen. But let's see if it doesn't. Let's just try to find out. Okay, I've asked Matt, but Fairboy, before I go to Bobby and Eric Blue, I want to find out to you. Do you think signing Dembele will make a difference for Lukaku and again Timo Werner?
Coachila. Even if we sign Dembele,
whenever you start like that, I know you don't agree.
He's not going to improve Lukaku. Now, do you know that the sort of players he's been playmaking for? We are talking about the likes of what's this young man's name? Aubameyang. We are talking about Ferran Torres. These players are mobile. They are smart. Who playmaking for Lukaku? He's even going to squander the chances. So I disagree that Dembele is going to improve Lukaku massively. I think Dembele is going to help certain players in our team. For that one, I agree. If Kai Havertz is a center forward as an example, he's going to help Kai Havertz. No two ways. If Pulisic, he's going to help. But who? Lukaku. No. I don't think he's going to help Lukaku in any way. Lukaku, he's finished. He's finished. He's finished.
Again, that's a strong argument. Bobby, over to you. What you have to say?
What, Dembele? Yeah, I mean, Dembele, when he's fit, is definitely going to be an asset. He's definitely going to bring. Sorry.
Go ahead. I was going to just clarify. We're asking if he's going to help Lukaku and Timo Werner do well. If they both stay.
Yeah, I mean, certainly I can see him being of help to Lukaku because, Lukaku's waiting for somebody to give him the chances on the plate. And Dembele, with his skills, would possibly do that. Especially as it's quite likely that Lukaku will be forced to stay. But I'm like Max. I don't see what he will do for Timo Werner because they are sort of similar in their attacking ways. It's just that Dembele is more effective and he would force Timo on the bench. Can I just say something to what Phantom was saying about Lewandowski? There's a lot of Chelsea fans that are, wanting Lewandowski so badly. I have a lot of concerns with these players. I think we these sort of players, been there, seen it, done it, sort of players. I think we need to be careful. If Tuchel wants him and we're able to get him, okay. But, I don't see what he will really have left to do in the game that will help us? You know what I mean? Especially in that position. So I have some serious doubts, and I would rather have a lesser known, hungry attacker trying to make his name than somebody who's going to come and be another potential prima donna in the dressing room. But enough said. Back to your question. Absolutely, Dembele will help Lukaku. Werner as well, perhaps a little bit on the pitch, but I think he'll be more of a competition for Werner.
I do think that will be the case. But again, let's see what happens. I want to start you, Eric. I want to get to you. Your thoughts on that. Do you think it's something that will happen? Do you think Dembele will help them both? To start firing on all cylinders.
Yeah. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning to you, brother. How you doing, man? Good afternoon to you because it's noon
Yes,
already.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't agree with some of the things I've just heard, to be honest. I'll just start with Lukaku and Dembele. I think even if you can say that Dembele would help Lukaku with his game, if he wants to leave, then it doesn't make any sense trying to improve a player, trying to fit players around him who would improve him when he doesn't even want to stay at the club. So it's not even, for me, it's not even worth talking about when he wants to go. Similar thing with someone like Christensen. Even if Christensen says, "Oh, you know what? I think I can stay at Chelsea after all," blah blah blah. No, you decided to do all the things you've done. You've decided to make some poor decisions, and so now it's time to find a different option. The club should just tell him that you just need to figure out a different, solution for your future. And if you want to stay, fine, you can stay, but you won't get any guarantees. You won't get any, any assurances, and you'll just run your contract down, and you'll end up without a club. So you have to look for a club, and figure out the best for your future. That's what I think the club should do with Christensen. And for someone like Lukaku, he should move on as well. Him and Werner, they need to find a different solution. And for me, it's Lukaku might have a chance still, but if he wants to leave, then there's no point. We can't waste our time with players who don't want to be here. So even if you can say he would improve him, I still think the main problem is Lukaku doesn't have the mentality. He doesn't want to, he doesn't want to work hard. He doesn't want to, really dig deep when he's struggling to try and, fight for the badge and fight for the club. You're our highest ever player. You're our highest earning player in our history. You're earning more than anybody else in the history of the whole club. That by itself should be enough motivation for you to run out there on the pitch and give everything you have. But for one reason or the other, he's either, not willing to do it because he's down tools, or maybe, he has his mentality is not in the best place because maybe he's just not good enough for this level mentally. So maybe he's depressed. Maybe he's, he's lacking confidence, which I find ridiculous. So that's the excuses you can give Lukaku. But for me, Dembele needs to be signed regardless of who he might be improving in the team. I think he would improve us in general. That's quality of player. The main thing is that he just needs to, be fit, stay healthy, not get any bad injuries, and he can be reunited with Tuchel, who he had his best form under, and Werner can reunite with Nagelsmann, who got the best out of him. So that's where I see all of that, to be honest. And in terms of Lewandowski, just very quickly, I think that Lewandowski is not. He's not like Ronaldo, for example. I don't think he's a prima donna like Bobby was saying. I don't think that's true. I think he has very high demands of himself and expectations. And even someone like Ronaldo, who is a very high maintenance kind of player, who you can call a prima donna, he also has very high demands. of himself and his teammates. So I think that it's only a positive thing for us to get somebody like Lewandowski. There's no way he would consider Chelsea a holiday camp or a retirement home. He would try to play at the highest level because he still believes he's probably the best striker in the world, and that's kind of mentality you have to have as an elite player at this level. So for me, I don't think he's thinking about retiring anytime soon, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to make a drop off. And I don't know what the reasons are for him not wanting to come to England necessarily, because I heard that he doesn't want to come to England. But if he did, I'm not worried about him having problems like Lukaku has had. I think he's a very high mentality kind of player. His quality is far superior to Lukaku and anybody we have in this team right now. And if we have Lewandowski and Dembele in our team, that would elevate us a lot offensively.
I do agree that Dembele will elevate us as a team because he's a fine he's a creator. And again, I'm just repeating myself. He doesn't shy away from taking people on. But that's by the way. Again, Max, let me start you off with the Dest. Sergiño, is it Sergiño? I think it's Sergiño Dest discussion. Do you think he would be a good fit for us and provide good competition? You could say for James. Or you think we should just look elsewhere because we don't want to find ourselves in that situation where when James gets injured, then we don't have a good enough replacement for him. Things will start going downhill from that point on.
Yeah. So obviously you're based in America, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm hearing that he's after Pulisic. They say that he's the second most promising American. Is that correct?
Yeah, for obvious reasons. Probably because he's playing for Barcelona.
Playing for Barcelona, etc. Yeah. I'm going to be entirely honest. I haven't seen a lot of him, but I've done some homework on him, and he looks decent from what I've seen. Plus, the plus with him is that he can play left or right. So he covers two positions. He covers the left wing back role, the right wing back role, and he's got pace. He's quite dynamic in going forward. Not sure defensively, okay-ish defensively, but playing in the Premier League, you have that step up in pace as well. I know we looked at him in the winter, so I'm not sure. I think it was available at 20 million. So I'm not sure why we didn't go for him in the winter. Maybe we were holding out for different options. But if it means getting Alonso off our books, because there's talk about a swap deal with Alonso, then yeah, I'll take that. If it means finally getting rid of Alonso from our team.
Yeah, I think the fact that they want Alonso. Sorry, anybody saying something?
No, I was saying Aspilicueta's another one who they're after. So, get rid of those two, bring him in, and then for nothing, and that'll give us some more money to maybe spend on another left wing back. That's if Emerson doesn't come. Because they talk about Emerson coming back as well, isn't there? So.
Yeah, he's saying that it sounds like he wants to come back, but it remains to be seen whether Thomas Tuchel would want to have him back because the time we were looking to bring him back from the loan, we were desperate because if he fancied him that much, he wouldn't let him go out on loan in the first place. So maybe there's a chance Thomas Tuchel, if he gets in another play in, he may decide to just let him go. I don't know if that makes sense, but. Bobby, coming to your thoughts on the possibility of us getting Dest, and as Max mentioned, he can also play on the left-hand side, which makes him very valuable to us. But I was asking, my most important question is he good enough for Chelsea? Will he be one of those players we just have him for having him sake? When the starting player gets injured, then we're doomed.
Yeah, I mean, like Max, I can't say I know that much about Sergiño Dest. I've read a few things. I've read he can be wasteful in front of goal. He's very fast and raw. I don't know. I mean, this is one that I have to leave to Tuchel. If Tuchel wants him, then I want him. I can't say that I know enough about him, unlike some of the other players I've mentioned, to really have too much of an opinion. But if I see him holding up a Chelsea shirt at some time this summer transfer window, I will trust that he's somebody that Tuchel can use. I don't want us to go back to the days of dead wood, this accumulating dead wood. We've got to get away from that. Any purchase now must be useful to the club. It must be a player we can use, not one that's going to come in and there'll be all kinds of problems associated with them. The thing I'm slightly concerned with, I'm always one that's very vigilant on physicality in the Premier League. I hear he's not that big. Now, we've got a few we've certainly got one small purchase in our sights in the defensive areas in Jules Kounde. I would be slightly reluctant to keep that as a theme. I think we need to be very careful there. The Premier League is not for little guys. I say that very respectfully, but that's the reality, especially in the defensive position. I'll rephrase that. The Premier League is not for little guys in defensive positions. You may have one that's, has a lot of good attributes, or two, but you've got to have those guys that can use their head, use their height, and use their physique, or you will be steamrolled, no matter how fast you are. And in defensive positions, like the wing-back positions, we've already got Chilwell. Chilwell isn't particularly big, but he's used to the Premier League, and he makes up for it with a lot of intelligent play. Is Dest that sort of player? I don't know. And of course, Reece James is not particularly tall, but he's very physical, very strong. And Dest, from the pictures I've seen, is not that. So I don't know. I'm a little weary with that one, but as I said,
I think his height. I don't think it's not bad. He's 5'9". So
that's not bad, really.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. Yeah, 5'9".
For a wing back, it's not bad.
No, it's not bad. I think he would be a good option for us. Again, we like to play out from the back, and you can say what we have right now. Specifically, if I'm allowed to name names, not saying that bad players, Cesar Azpilicueta, Marcos Alonso, both are not that good at progressing the ball when opponents press us aggressively. Or when opponents, sit deep, they cannot, they find it difficult to progress the ball. So and Tuchel likes to play out, likes his team to play out from the back. No matter, he often uses the time we have to be brave. But even bravery wouldn't be enough if the player himself isn't able to beat the man, that's pressing them. Eric, your thoughts on Dest as a possibility?
Yeah, I think Dest is like he's like a young Alonso with a lot of speed. He's very fast. Sorry, so can you come back to me? Sorry, just I'm busy. Something came up. I'll get back to you soon.
All right, no problem. No problem. Go ahead, Max. Your thoughts on what Dest can bring to us, to the team. Okay, I think here's the thing. I think the most important thing he brings is his versatility is great for us. He can use both.
Yeah, sorry, I'm back.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Dest is not good enough defensively, and I don't know if he's good enough overall to play for Chelsea. But I think that I think he can improve. He's young, so if you want to buy him for long term, you can do that. But will the Chelsea fans be patient and give him time? I don't know. But he's not really the kind of player who I believe will challenge Reece James. And in terms of his versatility, I can't speak about that. I don't really know much about him in terms of how good he is on the left side. But I think we definitely need to get an option as good as Chilwell. we should just think in our minds a starting option for that left wing back position, because Chilwell will take some time before he gets back to where he was before he got injured. So I think that is that's the way we need to look at it for that left side. We can't just use Dest as a rotational option on the left, because Chilwell needs time to recover, fully recover from his injury.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I'm not sure. And again, is he good? He's good. Does he have potential? He does have quite a lot of potentials. But the question remains, I don't think, if I'd argue that he isn't ready for Chelsea. I don't think he's that player that will, give a Benchwell or what's his name, Reece James, a run for their money. I don't think he's not that good now. But I think we should be looking at other options. But I want to get your thoughts, Declan.
Good morning.
Morning to you.
It's funny. I joined in and everyone was talking about Lukaku. It just made me laugh again too.
When
I tuned in.
You missed it.
I missed it, but it made me laugh. Dest is an interesting shout. I didn't know Dest could play on both sides.
Yeah, he could.
From the amount I've seen him, it's been limited. But I think he could be an interesting. I mean, it depends how much you pay for him, but an interesting buy. He does come off as like a winger. He does get really high up the pitch for Barca. I think when you put him in a wing back role, it could probably suit him a lot more. As a more, I'm not going to put him on like a Trent level, because I think Dest can even defend more than Trent. But when it goes to his tackling ability, and he's still young, yeah, he's still under 23, I think. I'm not sure about that myself.
Let me find out his age. I think he's still very young.
He's 21, even younger than I thought.
Yeah, he's still very young. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one. I think it's an interesting gamble. I think he can actually. There's a good chance he can flourish in a wing-back role, because he naturally is a fullback that gets really high all the time, and a wing-back doesn't really have to come back as much, especially in the Tuchel system. So he can probably get the better the better football out of him. So get the best out of him is probably what I was trying to say. So probably an interesting one. If you get him on a cheap, Barca might be struggling. And I'm actually interested. It's not like something we have to get, but if you get him, I'll be very interested to see how he goes, because there is some good potential there. And like I said, just because of I haven't seen him every game, but just from what I've seen, is a really attacking fullback, and it could be more suited to the wing-back role. And if he does play left and right, then it's value for money. If you find the guy that can play left and right, both positions, you're buying essentially almost two players. So I think value for money, still got to fight for his spot, still younger than our younger wing-backs. It could actually be a good buy. It might not be good enough, but I think he can get there. There's potential. So it's an interesting one. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, but the truth remains, I think we're not really looking for, how do I phrase it? We're not looking for, potentials right now. We're looking for players that are ready for when to hit the ground or running under the rain of
for a wing-back role. We got Chilwell and Reece James. You don't need anyone hit the ground running. What you need is cover, and if Dest actually steps it up, then Reece James and Chilwell could, if they have poor games or in poor form, might actually lose their role. And then you can see Reece James go back into the back. Do you know what I mean? It depends on his versatility. I mean, this can, you just saw. I just said Reece James can play centre back. If he could do both sides, if he's that attacking, right? I'm not sure how he adjusts. You throw him in the front three. I mean, you don't know. He's 21. I think he's unpolished yet. I think if you get him on the cheap, I think it's an interesting one. And what I just described, Coach, is probably in this big summer, in this big signing, is probably what we need. You find a couple of players like this, it'll give us great depth, especially in this season, and especially covering multiple positions that we need, and so we can throw more money at certain positions. So I think it's not just the football. I mean, like just in one area. I think you got to look at the scope and what you're getting for your money, and we can throw our money in different areas. I think it's going to be the key. Good scouting.
Yeah, there isn't so much to catch up with in the chat because I was scrolling through them again. But before I come back to the panel, I want to ask everybody that's watching, please do take a second to like the video. That means a lot to us. It helps the channel. That's the way you can support the channel. You don't have to donate, but liking the video does go a long way. And also subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I'm going to come back to the panel right now. That is looking beyond Dest. Are there any other players, that you suggest we sign rather than Dest? Another player you think would do better for us, in terms of in that position?
Yeah, there's actually one player in mind I have right now. His name is Gosens.
Robin Gosens.
Yes.
They just signed him, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, we can still get him. Still possible. But I think he's the best option I can think of for that left wing back position. I can't think of any better option at the moment.
How about Cucurella?
Cucurella is an option, but I don't know how much we're willing to spend for him, and I don't think he wants to come to Chelsea. I think he wants to go to Man City. So, it might not be worth going for him if he wants a different club. So yeah, other than him and maybe Cucurella, I don't know who else we can go for realistically. But obviously, it's for the scouts to do their job. Their job is to find these people, and not always just go for the popular option. Somebody who everybody knows. They need to try and find out people who are hidden gems, and who can be improved. That's their job, really. So hopefully they can find the best option for us. Somebody who is good enough to start, I think. Start week in, week out.
Just so that, and then give the current starting players a run for their money. Go ahead.
Yeah. So someone to just not help Chilwell to not be under so much pressure to deliver immediately, because, like I said, he needs to fully recover from his injury, and nobody should expect him to come back and hit the ground running. So we need somebody to be able to do maybe not a good job as he has been doing, but somebody who is good enough to start for us, start for us week in, week out. So that's what we need.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Dest is the guy. I know he can play in both the left on the right, but people seem to trust him. I don't think, from what I've seen, I don't think I trust him that much to be that guy that will help us get to the next level that we're seeking to reach. Again, I'm going to come back to you, Bobby. Now, the question I wanted to ask, I don't know if I've asked you that question before. I don't know if I've asked Eric the same question too. I want to ask you I want us to switch topic a bit, because it looks like we've covered
before you switch,
we have.
Can I throw a name in there, Coach?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was actually waiting for Well, I actually want to test the waters with Hakimi. The groundwork was done. We were in for him. I think at PSG, something's got to give, right? That Mbappe contract, Neymar contract, Messi contract, is insane in itself. It's that insane that it even made Real Madrid, the most insane club for quite a few decades, actually go complain. Even they thought they were crazy. So I think something's got to give. If Hakimi is genuinely that upset or finds himself in a bad situation that he, we could come in and give him an exit. And I mean, when it comes to that, you're testing the club, you're testing the player. You might get Hakimi on a pay cut. Club might be happy to get him off the books. Something, they might have. Maybe in order to keep Mbappe, it's going to take maybe 3-4 players out just to keep up float in the FFP and stuff. I feel like something's got to give, and if they've got a player that wants to get out, why not test it? Because we already done all the negotiation with him. If the club's agreed, that's going to be a quick deal done. And obviously the club was after him, so they rate him highly. I would love to test that, and it'll probably be cheaper too.
It sounds easy, but I don't think it is. If you remember, I think it was his wife that preferred to go. Was the reason why they had to move to PSG.
Well, if he's upset, then it probably supersedes his wife now. Like I told you, it's yes, every deal is hard till the player wants to leave. When the player wants to leave, everything becomes easier because the player loses out the most. Because the player is willing to take pay cuts, the player is willing to sacrifice a lot of things just to make the move happen. And sometimes the club loses out depending on how much they pay for him, but most of all, the wiggle room is going to come from the player. So you watch. In our instance, if Lukaku is that desperate to leave, he's really... I mean, if you've got a lawyer, he's ready to fight. But in another case, I think he'll be willing to give up a lot. See how desperate he is.
I want to ask this question quickly. I'll start with you, Bobby. I don't know if I've asked you that question before. The question I want to ask you is this: if indeed, if eventually Lukaku leaves, should we actually be looking to sign another striker? Because to me, it doesn't make sense, especially if we're talking about signing another out-and-out striker. Whereas it just shows if we do that, it just shows that we're not paying attention to how Tuchel likes to do things.
That's an opinion.
It's an opinion, yes, of course. Yes, go ahead.
I would like to believe that if we do that, it's because Tuchel wants to do that. If he feels he can play some sort of way with the likes of Havertz and Dembele and Pulisic and Ziyech and have some kind of fluid thing going on up there, fine. But Pep Guardiola, who is the master of that false number 9, and I think probably the person that introduced it, has now gone for a striker. There is value in having a striker. I don't know. I really don't know. But if Lukaku goes, I would like to see somebody like Jonathan David, as I've said, or Gianluca Scamacca. That's where my eyes will be. I mean, it's likely, since we're talking marquee signings by the new owners, that if that comes, they will try and see if they can get hold of Lewandowski. But I have some concerns. I mean, if it's true that he said he doesn't want to play in England, to me, that tells you everything. You know, when you've spent years playing in a league where you've been just about the only team, you have one major game a season or two against Dortmund, maybe the occasional little effort you have to put in against people like Mönchengladbach, or I've forgotten the other sort of prominent German team. It's not really. It's quite a different thing to come to the Premier League, where one, if you're a top striker, you're targeted. The pace is furious, and you're 34 years old. So I'm not surprised he doesn't want to come to the Premier League. You know, that is a red flag to me. Yeah, maybe he isn't a prima donna, but we've been there. We've had this issue. We've had Shevchenko. We've had Torres. Now we're having Lukaku, having this same problem of adapting to the uniqueness of the Premier League. So yeah, I mean, if he doesn't want a striker, he's the coach, he's the manager. But if he does, he should go for a lesser name, hungry, very talented guy. Um, Max made a very good point about Jonathan David, that his conversion rate is what, 1 in 2 thereabouts, which in itself too bad for a team like Lille that I can't imagine would create that many chances. To me, it looks like he has to create his own chances. Skamaka, I don't know what his conversion rate is, but every time I see him, I mean, this guy looks dangerous. He's fast. He's good with his feet, good with his head. I mean, he's 0.8 something meters tall. I think he's about 6'4", 6'5". I mean, he's a good player. So there are those out there that we can use, even in the Tuchel way. We need finishers. Ultimately, that's our problem. We need finishers. And if Dembele is a finisher of sorts, I don't think he's really known for his goal scoring. So we need somebody who's going to take that mantle. I don't think Havertz is yet ready to be that consistent finisher. And we will need a striker, absolutely, in my opinion.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Dembele, it doesn't score that much, but whenever he scores, it is usually something special. He gets it that sort of goals, and usually in games where the team needs goals but aren't able to isn't able to get one. But that's, by the way, Eric, your thoughts on what Bobby just said in regarding the player we're talking about.
Yeah, I wasn't able to get all of it, but I got some of it. Yeah, I have no idea why Lewandowski wouldn't necessarily want to come to England. Maybe he's not as interested as some other people are. A lot of these foreign players prefer to play in the Spanish league or the German league, so maybe that's why. I don't believe that he wouldn't want to come because he's somehow like worried about getting exposed or something like this. I think he's a really, really good player. He's one of the best strikers in the world. I think he's, one of two of the best strikers in the world. I just cannot see the argument that he's somehow worried. Maybe his age comes into it. Maybe he's a little bit old, so he's thinking, I don't necessarily want to, make myself injury prone or probably have some kind of physical concern with such a physical league. Maybe that's what he's thinking about, but I'm not sure why. I don't know the details about that specifically. I think he has to be the option we go for. He's the best option I can think of right now. He's a better player than Holland for me. He has all the attributes. He can do everything. He can literally do everything you need from a striker. So for me, especially with his contract running down, it makes a lot of sense. We have to try to get him. There's no other option right now, because I don't believe this fan base would give a young developing player time to improve. Some people believe we need to challenge for the title next season. And, they're well within their rights to think that when you finish third, yes, there's a gap, there's a points gap between us and the top two teams. But when you finish third, the only way to go up from there is to challenge for the title, So I think it would require a lot, but, we have to
let me ask you this.
Lewandowski.
Yeah, I know you said you didn't quite get everything we talked about. I think what led to that, what you address right now is the question whether we should even be looking, at strikers, even if Lukaku leaves. I'd say we bring back Broya. and ride the boss like that, I think we'll be fine. Again, that's my argument. What do you think? Do you think we should still go out for a striker, even if we lose? If eventually we lose Romelu Lukaku?
What I will say to that is, who are you comparing? Are you comparing us with other teams that don't necessarily have an out and
No,
out
it's
striker?
not about comparing us with other teams. It just simply comes down to how the manager likes to play, whether we like it or not. Or I
All right.
think I
So
agree that.
yeah.
But coming to that, I do agree with Bobby's suggestion. Let's not go where we spent so much money in terms of getting in a striker.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And you wouldn't need to spend that much to get Lewandowski. So why not? Lewandowski fits any. Lewandowski is a good player. In fact, that's an understatement. He is world class, and there's no manager on planet Earth that wouldn't want Lewandowski in their team, as long as he's fit and healthy. Every single manager will love him in their team. So for me, it doesn't matter what style of play Tuchel wants. Lewandowski can play whatever is required. So I don't really see this idea of not having a striker as a good option. And you said we'll be fine, coach. Are we going to challenge for the title next season? Because what you just told me is not good enough to challenge next season. So, what are your expectations for next season? If you think we'll be fine with Broja and nobody
already,
else.
I don't expect too much given how many players will change, even at the back.
Yeah.
Even though the changes will be mainly in the defensive department, still that I don't expect much, honestly.
I mean, if you're thinking about top 4 for next season and we're still building, then fine. That's not a problem. But if you want to challenge for the title, Broja is not going to be enough. We still need somebody, whoever it is, striker, winger. We need a goal scorer. We need somebody to get those goals. Yes, we've been able to spread the goals around the team, but at the same time, it's not enough. It's not enough. We need to do more. You cannot score. You can't win the title and only get 70-something goals. You have to score 90 plus to win the title. So for me, there's a lot of work to be done. And for us to be in a position where we say we don't need a striker, we need to do what the teams who don't need a striker have done. And those teams have been built over a very long time. They didn't just, they're not as good as they are now because of 1 or 2 seasons of good work. They've been building what they have for a long time. So we're not in that position to say, oh yeah, we don't need a striker. We'll be good without a striker. I don't see it like that.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I'm going to come to you, Declan, but before I do that, please, I'm asking people that are watching. We have 75 likes. I know we can reach 100 likes at least before the end of the show. And again, apologies for starting 1 hour late today. We were busy trying to figure out what's wrong with the new equipment we added to the studio. So if you haven't, take a second to like the video, help us reach 100 likes. And if you haven't, do subscribe to the channel. Declan, you go ahead.
I want to ask Eric, does he feel if we get Lewandowski, we can challenge for the title next season?
I don't feel so. If you ask, that's my own opinion.
Yeah.
Why? Because he probably need to adapt to the Premier League before he starts firing on all cylinders. And
there's a lot
always
that needs. Yeah.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. You were going to say something?
Yeah, it's not just about Lewandowski. It's about the other signings. So let me just go through the list quickly. If we sign Lewandowski,
I think that was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
Like, how many do you think we need before we start?
Yeah. So this is not us winning the title, by the way. This is just challenging. Reducing the gap.
You said challenging, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So challenging, which is reducing the gap to less than 10 points. Let's put it like that. Less than 10 points.
Yeah.
We will need to get rid of a lot of these players who we have agreed are not good enough for the squad. And then we need to replace people like Rudiger and Christensen. And then we need to get additions. We need to get people like, okay, for me, so if we do, get rid of people like Sarr, get rid of Saul, get rid of Barkley, all these guys, and then we bring in somebody to replace Rudiger, we bring in someone to replace Christensen, and then we get Lewandowski, Sterling on the left, Dembele on the right. We get a CDM, maybe Bissouma. We get a left wing back, who can start for Chelsea. We get another right wing back. then I think we can challenge with that. I think we can. How far, how close we will get, I don't know, but we will be able to challenge with that, in my opinion.
Declan, go ahead and answer your question. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Eric hit some questions that I think maybe with this new owner need to change fans' expectations and patience. I feel like maybe our targets are going to be younger. Lewandowski, even though how great he is, even if he does great, if that's a small bandage in that position, I don't think he can play every game. And at 34 is pretty old. I'm not sure how much he can run. He can probably do a job, and then what about the next 2 years? He won't come in cheap as well. I mean, I'm happy to, in this period with a lot of new players and young players, to actually test out a couple, potential players that can fill the role. And Broja still counts as one of those players. I mean, there's no better time than ever. I don't think we're going to challenge the title straight away. I think it's going to take time. I think there's going to be good improvements, but there's a big jump to catch Man City and Liverpool. Liverpool might actually, if they lose some players, they might not be at that level again. They might drop off a little bit, but Man City definitely won't. I think there's no better time to really get some young attacking players and really test it out to see what, to see where we can go. Because Lewandowski for me is just an expensive band-aid, sure, a very temporary solution, and then in 2 years when everyone else starts playing all right, then we've got to fill up a striker and he's got to catch up again. So I'd rather do it now. I'd rather experimental now. I'd rather go through one, 2 players, 3 players if we need to. I'd rather do that. And some players slowly have to, and if they're not good enough, they leave. But there is some names out there that we can go for that. And even we got one already. I'd rather give Broja time, and he might surprise everyone, or he might not. Regardless, if you give him some time, even if he does okay, his sale price will go up. Some other team would be willing to develop him and give him a lot more time than we would. And so I think there's always a win in testing our players. But to think someone can come in and just really just explode like Lewandowski. I mean, the difference from the Bundesliga here and the place that he ripped it up is less games. They got the nice winter break. They play less.
Mm-hmm.
They can rest. Bayern don't have to play always their best players. They can rest players in a lot of situations. They can manage players. It's not intense every week for them.
But
so
we'll do that
I
as
think
well.
that's how you get the best out of Lewandowski.
I mean, you say what you say about Broja, but what I'm saying includes Broja as the number 2 striker. So he will be in the team as well for me. Yeah. So Lewandowski will be the starter, and then he'll get rested, and then Broja can play the other games, like the cup games at the early stages of the cup games, maybe 1 or 2 group stages of the Champions League games. He can do that. So for me, Lewandowski will be rested. He won't play every single game. And for me, I mean, you say his age, but age is a number, especially when it comes to people like him. I mean, he's really, really good. I don't think it's going to be a pro. I'm not even joking. Like, he's really good. He keeps himself in fantastic shape.
Here's something else I want to bring up. Eric. Now, he's good. That's no question in that. But something else that comes into play, one factor that we often seem to, overlook or not talk about, is again, one thing is the ability of the player. The other is a system, how the manager likes to approach the game, and there's a chance that may well be a problem for him. You get my opportunity now, and it's not the most mobile. For instance,
come on, coach. There's no Lewandowski can do anything you need from a striker. Honestly, he can. There's nothing he can't do.
When you said we thought the same thing with Morata, when you said we thought the same thing with
No. I didn't think about that for Morata. No way. Morata is not on that level.
So you think if he comes in, then he's going to fit in seamlessly with the way we play?
Yeah. Yes. I wanted
They-
Benzema, but Lewandowski can do
Yeah, good
the
luck.
job
You're
as well.
gonna get Benzema. Yeah.
No, look, either of them is fine. Benzema or Lewandowski. I'm telling you, these guys are the two best strikers in the world. They will be able to do. It doesn't matter what the system is. He can do it.
Declan, do you agree with that? That it doesn't matter what the system is. That what's his name will thrive.
Lewandowski.
Yeah.
The only, for the most part, yes. I think I think where me and Eric might differ is he says age is a number. I'm saying age is can reflect on your fitness. Lewandowski definitely can't put out high numbers in kilometers, right? So the less he runs, the better. And if a team requires a lot of pressing, then that's a system that Lewandowski will struggle in. But I think Lewandowski's good enough to play in a lot of systems. But it's his it's the physical side that you might that you won't get that lets him down. That's it. I mean, 34 is a pretty high number.
It's not that high.
Yeah, but again, it doesn't look like
It's not that high.
No, it's not.
Go ahead, Eric,
Look
you
what
say
Benzema
something.
No, look, I agree with Declan here. I think he's been a little bit ageist.
I think I'm looking for beyond 34. Do you know what I'm saying? So
if I can use that
Lewandowski.
word. Yeah, of course.
How many good years are you going to get from Lewandowski? I think 2. Maybe 1.
Yeah, exactly. 2 seasons. I think
and that's
seasons.
that's if he hits the ground running too. What happens if Lewandowski just needs a bit of time, to adjust, and then you really get.
He might need a week.
He starts to do
maybe
well
2
towards
weeks.
the end of the season. Yeah,
He says it might need a week or maybe 2 weeks. I don't think so, but that's by the way. Again, let's round off by talking about,
And he's not a free
Dembele.
transfer too. That's a big difference.
Yeah,
If he was a free transfer,
it's not a free.
You can
No,
say
but
he's a good
it's the
risk,
last-
but
It's the last year of his
I think there's a
contract.
little
It's not
bidding
going to be
war
a
out
lot.
there.
No.
Yeah, I think he's a bit expensive.
How much? He's on the last year of the contract. How much are they going to get for him? It's not going to be that much.
40,
Maybe
50?
20 million? No chance. 40?
No, see, look,
On the last year?
I agree if there was no other club in for him. But I think that because there'll be a lot in for him, I think you're looking at the
What
40, 50
clubs are in
mark.
for him? What are the clubs?
Barca,
Okay, that's one.
maybe even PSG,
Barca
maybe
can't
even big
even-
name,
can't even
maybe in the Arab countries,
Register
maybe
their
even
players.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe
Yeah,
Bayern want to keep him.
Well, they do, but he wants to
No,
go.
they're falling
so-
out already.
Yeah.
They're falling out. I don't think
already.
yeah, I don't. The
Yeah,
director, for
they
instance,
maybe they fix it with some money. Like I don't know. maybe even Dortmund. Like what I'm saying is, you can't. You just the same way you praised up, and you said it before too. You said it. Any manager will want Lewandowski. That goes with the club. Any club would want Lewandowski. If they see an opportunity, they'll put their hat in the ring. Whoever sells the best project, right? Because there's no doubt about it. For him to come to the EPL is a harder job. But the only way he'll see, look, I want to prove myself over there, and then he'll come. But if he's
But
looking
he
for
has
just
nothing to
a
prove.
payday, he doesn't have anything to prove. That's my problem.
Lewandowski, he's not looking for a payday because the guy is a model professional. He's one of the best pros in the world. He's always in shape, He's very serious about his career. He's not trying to mess around, He wants to play for as long as possible.
But you can still be the model professional and look for your last big contract, knowing that your career's coming to an end towards the end. This is reality for a lot of players. So he'll be like,
Yeah, but that doesn't
I'll
mean
get
he's gonna
one big contract,
drop
look
down
after my
tools.
family.
But he's not going to down
No,
tools,
I'm not
though.
going to say no. That doesn't imply, because I use it for Lukaku, right? I know. It doesn't imply that you down tools. You can still be a great player, right? And still get your payday, right? But like some things are important. Get your here we go. I can come here. I can get good money, and I can do my best. Do you know what I mean? Like I can still, I don't know. Even if you went to a lower league somewhere, you can still rock it there. I don't know. Even if you went to, if you came to the EPL, let's say Man United even was in for him and gave him a massive, insane contract, and he still came here and balled out in the EPL. You don't know. He could do that for us too. But he might go to Spanish. He might go to Barca, where he feels that'll be easy and still be one of their best players. It doesn't mean that he's going to down tools. What I mean is that money might be, he's looking for the future beyond his career.
Okay.
And then he can still be that model professional as well.
Hey, I want to ask this quickly, because every time we talk about the good players, we've always, had some debate, some measure of debate over the player's salary. Are we going to ever get the good players if the salary is up? Will be the issue? Bobby, did you hear what I just said?
You're selling a project.
Okay.
Not a project. You're selling something. You're selling, this is what we're trying to do. This is what you'll do. And then, I mean, people look outside. Your kids can do this. You can come here. Like I don't know. If Lewandowski maybe wanted to live in London, there's things. There's a lot of elements. To it. A lot of factors that might, when it comes to selling the thing to a player.
I think we've proved that we're more than prepared to pay the big wages for a player we really want. Romelu Lukaku is testimony to that. So that's not the problem. But the fact that we are having this conversation about Lewandowski shows he's a risk. Are we prepared to take that risk? 34 years old for a striker is not
how much of a risk is it?
A striker coming from the Bundesliga, it's a holiday camp in the Bundesliga compared to the Premier League. Yeah, you can spend time in the gym looking fit, but are you going to be able to take the knocks and the bruises the punishment of this league? This league, don't underestimate it. It is grueling. It's tough. I remember, look at how big and strong Lukaku is. Sometimes when he would bulldoze through those defenders, on the rare occasion that he turned up, they would hurt him. He was injured because of how they hurt him. Now, I know, a lot of it is the way he played. And I think Lewandowski will be cuter about how he gets past these defenders. But the fact is, it's a very tasking league. And the only thing that kind of sells me to the idea is it could work, because I believe perhaps he would understand that he's not going to be playing week in, week out. And, giving the opportunities to people like Armando Broja could be a good solution. Because, if he plays in certain big games and scores the goals, if he's going to be able to do that, it could be useful to us. But we're agonizing. The guy's a risk. It's a risk. If he was a 28-year-old at the peak of his powers, as we were once linked to him when he was, it's a whole different matter. But now it's a risk. I don't know why. For a player of that quality, why did he stay there so long? That's another thing that gives me some concern.
Why did Messi stay so long at Barcelona? Why did Ronaldo stay so long at Madrid?
Madrid and Barcelona, they're slightly different because they are fashionable. They are clubs that a lot of players tend to feel they want to go to. Is Bayern that sort of club? I'm not so sure.
I think so. I think Bayern are maybe the third biggest in terms of the recent history, maybe like the last 10, 15 years. Bayern Munich are one of the biggest clubs. I think they're number 3 maybe, or number 4. But obviously it's just about opinions. And for me, I think every signing is a risk, but it's about weighing the risk. Is it too much of a risk to go for him in the last year of his contract and have him for maybe 2 seasons?
Yeah.
I don't know if it is. I don't think it is. I think Lewandowski for me is just a signing to keep us competitive while we're trying to build. I think we can still do that. And then obviously he'll move on when he's like 39.
Don't get me wrong, you make some very strong points, Eric. You do, especially in view of how weak the market is at the moment. So he could be a good tide over. But I don't know. It's left to be seen, isn't it? It's just completely left to be seen.
Yeah, again, Eric, Declan, let me come to you quickly because I have just a few minutes to round off. I didn't start early, so it's really overlapping into at the time I'm supposed to be doing something else. Your turn, and Declan, the question I have for you, your thoughts on the Dembele, what we're hearing. Some say the deal is done. Some say all that's left is just to announce the player. Some say he's waiting on Chelsea. Where do you think we're at with that one?
Sorry,
Did we
muted.
look? Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I think I kind of. Can you repeat the last bit of the question? I missed it.
Yeah, where do you think we are with on that's with that one with the pursuit of Dembele? Is it done or which is it? Because there are tons of conflicting reports.
There was a lot of reports that it's a done deal. And
yeah, go ahead.
It's probably the easier one to do because it's on a free.
Okay, so Eric, how about you?
Yeah.
Go ahead. You were still saying something?
No, that's pretty much it, man. I'm still questioning, some of his things, but in terms of getting a deal done, it's the easiest one to do. The manager knows the player as well. He's on a free. It's the easiest one out there if Chelsea are keen to get him, and it could happen really quick.
Yeah, Eric, do you think it's done, or you think we can say we cannot be sure?
No, I don't think it's done. I think Kounde is done. I think Dembele is not quite done yet. Maybe a few weeks after the window opens, then it will be done. But I think we need to wait a little bit longer. But I think Dembele will be signed for Chelsea eventually this window.
How about you, Bobby? All right, looks like we've lost
Dembele?
Do you think it's done, or do you think it's all just rumors?
Oh, it's hard to say, isn't it? I mean, there's no smoke without fire, and this smoke has been pretty thick for a pretty long time. I sent a message to the originator of this Dembele deal is done, this ES Grimes, and I said to her, look, if this happens, I'm following you big time. I've been told she predicts a lot of things that is right, and this will be quite a telling thing because although the rumor mill has been strong and it all indicates that way, but to be able to release that information at that time, I think is quite insightful as to the amount of links he probably has. So, do I think it will happen? It's likely. Am I excited about it? Of course. Do I have concerns? Yes, his injuries are a concern, but he may have turned the corner with that. As I've said, the Premier League is tough. A player that plays like he does, they will try and target him. Remember what happened to the likes of Hazard. Remember what happened to the likes of Iron Robin. The Premier League defenders are nasty, and I just hope he's tough enough to deal with that. Hazard was, some of the punishment Hazard got, and he would walk up, get up, and still keep playing. I feel certain it's very, very much related to the ankle problems he has today at Real Madrid. I think it was Premier League defenders that did that. Now, I blame the referees. People are hailing people like Mike Dean and so on. I have a lot of issues with how they allowed this to happen, particularly to Hazard and to a lesser extent to Iron Robin. So hopefully this deal will happen. It will certainly be a good move on our road to recover with our squad.
Yeah. I think he will be a brilliant signing for us, given that he understands how Thomas Tuchel wants to play. And again, the most important thing that is about him is that he's never shy, taking on his man, and that makes a huge difference for me. I think I want to say thank you. With that, I want to say thank you for everyone on the panel. Okay, Eric, I understand, bro. Thank you for finding time to join the show. I cannot thank you enough. And if you're still watching, please go see their Twitter handles. Go check them all up on Twitter. You will find them, follow them. And that's a way to say thank you, because they earn nothing from, participating in helping, analyze things and help us come to sensible conclusions with everything that's going out there that can be very, very confusing. And of course, follow Chelsea Perspective. And again, I want to say thank you to everybody in the chat. Steve Chelsea, True Blue, who's always there providing great value. And everyone else, we had Jerry Cloney, and we had, what's his name again? Everyone else. If I miss your name, my apologies to you. I'm only human. With that, I say, see you guys later today. Hopefully, I'll still have the time to do the evening show, because I'll be going to my son's school, my 5.5-year-old son's school for his graduation. Again, hopefully I'll still have time to host the evening show. If not, I'll see you guys tomorrow for another Blue Morning Show. Thank you, and God bless us all. Bye.